Say something, Lisa.
I just did.
I want you to say, oh, look at there. You did. You said something. I think we should get one of these to record our meetings in. What do you think? No? It's a new one for you.
Okay.
Your garden taken on?
As long as the buying lead.
Do you want any yellow squash or zucchini seeds?
But thank you.
I'm not pack of each. Each seed out of each, which is more than
Okay.
Jerry.
You know, Justin and Brett's gonna be here.
Otherwise.
Okay.
It's probably just in there.
Yes.
You have an invoice for that.
Hello, Justin.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm crowding you a little bit.
All right, get ready. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Meeting is called to order. Roll call, Michelle.
Here.
Annie.
Here.
Brett. Here. Justin. Here. Tim.
Here.
Can I add myself to the department reports? I forgot to do that. Sorry.
Okay.
Big deal. Anybody else before we move to adopt the agenda with that addition?
A second.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt the agenda with the addition of Andy Compton for department reports, seconded by Michelle. Those in favor? Okay, approved.
I'd like to point out on the minutes, and I'm gonna find it. It's on the front page, most of the way down, when we were talking about the property at 314 East First.
Mm-hmm.
It says discussion regarding the removal. I would think that would say a directive for the removal of the pallets in the temporary shed. Which,
Okay.
by the way, are still there, I just noticed.
Okay.
With that correction, I move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes with the correction as noted by Tim, seconded by Justin. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Opposed?
And I move to approve appropriation ordinance 1507.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the appropriation ordinance number 1507 by Tim, seconded by Justin. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michelle?
Yes.
Annie?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
And Tim?
Yes.
All approved. Okay, at this time, we're opening for public comments. Does anybody from the public have a comment? Yes.
My name is Megan Taylor. I came to see about, I already talked to up here at the city office about getting ducks, and they said all that was currently allowed was chicken. I found out I'm allergic to chicken eggs, and so I was wondering about being able to have a few ducks in our backyard in a coop so that I can have duck eggs.
Why don't we allow ducks? Serious question. I don't know.
They're foul.
Okay.
They
They are.
So is your
That's
humor.
bad.
No, I'm serious. That was
Okay.
not as
But
foul.
then if you read into it, it only addresses chickens.
Yeah, well, that,
Yeah.
The chicken ordinance is the chicken ordinance.
Okay.
It wasn't the
It didn't,
fowl or
so it just didn't address
edible birds.
other birds.
when we first, because we used to not allow chickens either, and that little girl came in here and asked if she actually did her homework and had the rules for several neighboring cities. This is what they allow and what they don't allow, and we just adopted the same. And what they allow and don't allow is what we have now. We have not ever altered it or edited it to my recollection. I don't know why we can't alter or edit.
Had somebody ask about roosters again as well this week. So,
Who did?
Tastes good.
Somebody did.
somebody will pop into it'll pop in my head, but
Okay, that's okay.
Was it a why can't we have them or why?
yeah,
do
I
we
would
allow
like
them?
would like a rooster. They're rehoming theirs. Maybe it's the one that was rehoming theirs. Oh, it's a 4-H rooster, and now it's come to their house, and now they have to find a new home. So, but yeah,
So what are the drawbacks to ducks? Or are there any?
People don't like the noise. They're a lot louder than chickens. That's
They're not gonna crow like a rooster though, which is the, so I mean, maybe, I don't know, annoys a greater percentage of the time, perhaps, but not necessarily the,
Would they have to be contained like chickens are? Protected?
mhm.
I would entertain the idea of allowing, and then if neighbors, I mean, if I have ducks and Justin lives right next to me and Justin can't stand the sound of them or whatever, and then so you allow me to have them, and Justin calls and complains, I think it would be fair for me to have to get rid of them because I caused a nuisance in the neighborhood. But if I get ducks and Justin's happy with it, then I don't have a problem with that.
I'll do it just to spite you, Tim.
I know.
We
People
used to
would.
have,
An
I don't
ordinance
know
like
if it
that
was
for
an
pigs.
ordinance, well, it was any livestock, if a neighbor within certain perimeter,
Smelling distance.
well, it was even before you got them, you had to have approval from your neighbor.
Yep, yep. And at any time, they could call and say, it stinks, whatever it is.
So,
Now, that's probably a tough way to run an
Sure.
ordinance because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're
I think we need some hard and fast rules because yeah, you could just get a really mean neighbor.
Or just one having a bad
Vengeful,
day.
yes. I drove by and the ducks were too loud. I don't live anywhere near that person, but I hate their guts. So
Megan, have you talked to your neighbors about this?
And I've talked to some of them, none of them seem to have a problem.
Okay.
For the most, I'm even willing to get hissing ducks that don't quack. They just hiss and they're not near as loud.
Hissing ducks.
I thought
Wow.
you said kissing ducks. is what I thought.
They're too busy to quack.
So,
Uh,
and how many do you propose having?
I'd like, you have to have at least 3 because they're a herd flock animal. But I'd like to have 3 or 4, simply because I go through a dozen pretty easy in a week. And by the time if I'm having them, I'm probably not gonna buy my kids chicken eggs at the store, so
Right.
probably just convert the whole family over to them if we're raising them.
In relation to our chicken ordinance, we are allowed 8 hens. So I would think that something along that line would apply to ducks as well. And the reproductive cycle for chickens is usually gone in 5 years. So every 4 to 5 years, you'd be replacing them to keep the egg supply going. And I don't know what about,
Ducks will continue to lay continually for longer than chickens.
okay.
I have a friend in Texas who raises ducks, chickens, geese, turkeys, all of them. And she's kind of been helping me through what I could. She was the one that figured out that maybe I could try duck eggs. And we went that route after I talked to my doctor and things. And she's helped me through kind of what I would need to have for a coop and things like that.
So council, perhaps can take this into consideration and come up with an ordinance for that.
I would say that what would be the best method,
Sorry.
if you wanted to make this economical, would be to have your clerk print up Article 5 and edit it to say chickens and ducks for the most part. Because that's what I would end up doing.
It'd be easier than having a separate ordinance, yeah.
Well, you
have to.
You just amend the current.
Amend it, yeah, that's what I'm saying, it'd be easier to amend it than to.
but some of them are a problem because you get like chicken pens. I mean, that's this 2504. So you can't just go one ordinance like thing and say every place we say chickens, we mean ducks too. You probably go down and say chickens and ducks on all of these.
Poultry.
Poultry?
Ducks are waterfowl.
Well, no.
Well,
You think somebody's gonna get offended? What if they identify as?
An ostrich identifies as chicken.
Yeah.
Do you want anything about the hissing ducks or not worry about the noise or?
But walks like a duck and it hisses like a duck. It's probably a duck.
So we have a maximum of 8 chickens. Are you gonna put a maximum on a combination, ducks and chickens?
I'm saying, yeah, that's probably a good point.
Yeah, I've got 8 chickens at my house, and if I can have 8 ducks, I might throw them out there too. And
I
then,
don't have a problem with changing that number of 8 either. While we're in there, I know people want that number higher.
Well, you can say the max of 8 or whatever, 10. And any mix of, do they get along well?
Chickens
Birds
and
and
ducks
They
get
feathers
can
along.
flock
house together
together.
yet. They typically eat different feeds by the time they're adults, so a lot of people separate them into different pens, but they can be housed together.
Okay. No, I mean, it's just a matter of, changing the language to say up to 8, up to 10, combination of ducks, chickens.
Put it on there for next
Prepare
time.
something for next meeting, okay.
yeah. Megan, we'll prepare something for the next meeting on June 12th,
Okay.
okay, to address that.
If you guys will think about a number in the meantime of how many maximum you think. Maximum of the answers.
All right, anybody else from the public? Yes, sir.
Larry Wall, and I'm here kind of representing some of the people at the barracks complex. I've been a barracks owner since the city sold the barracks, and so I've got some questions that I'd like the council to address. I'm located at barracks number 6. We're the one kind of lakefront there on the west side. And I point out that, lots of barrack owners have made significant improvements over the years. I'm talking over 30 years that I've been associated with that. My first question, and who is responsible for road maintenance around the barracks?
believe we are, aren't we?
I believe so, yeah.
That's what we're charging
Okay.
them for.
Well, the second question is, when was the last time any improvements were made to the roads around the barracks?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you.
Well, I can tell you,
Okay.
practically never. The west side of the barracks especially, and all of the roads have the same issue. There is no crown on any of those gravel roads.
Mhm.
On the west side, we get runoff from the entrance, come down all that asphalt, because the tubes there at the lodge are in disrepair. We get runoff from the lodge parking lot there on the south side. All that water comes down that one road, past the church, down the hill, and we get, I mean, manually we fill in ruts like this because we scrape gravel off the shoulders, which are too high. And we get water standing at the bottom of that hill. It's been an issue for practically ever. When the trash trucks come around down there, you know, because there's no gravel left at the bottom of the hill, they're cutting ruts all the time, and therefore more water stands. And it's, you know, it's a physical hazard, those ruts, because most of us on that west side park out there in the grass on the west side of the road. And then we've got to walk across those ruts to get to our front doors. So,
And then parking in the grass creates ruts when it's wet.
Well-
and stuff of this nature too, would it not?
yeah, well, the
So,
grass, I kind of think at one time, because it's so hard packed, we don't have an issue right there. There's the line of maple trees right there. So when we park out there, I mean, you know, it's never been an issue out there because I think it's so hard packed. It's just been used as parking spaces for forever. So anyway, that's, you know, my concern. See, I'm checking my notes here to see if there's anything else.
Cindy said she paid $981 to the city of Eskridge the other day, and she would like to have a load of gravel over there on her road.
Well, I know Bob. I know Bob Logan's a local guy that I'm sure several of you know, and I know that he spread on a 2-track pasture road for a rancher out here off the 8 Mile Road. I think about $800 worth of gravel, and I'll bet you it covered a quarter of a mile. And you know, that's a 2-track. Granted, these might be a little bit more than that, but the issue is, I've got a lot of experience in road stuff because I've worked with the highway department for a time. But the shoulders on all of those roads need to be cut down because, like at the bottom of the hill, the shoulder is so high, that's what catches the water. If those shoulders were graded off and a crown put in the middle of the road, then the water would go out there where it's supposed to go instead of right down the middle. I mean, there's a 3 or 4 inch river right down the middle of that west road when we get just about any kind of rain. So, you know, I'd just like the city to try to find a, you know, whatever it takes.
do you folks out there have any suggestions for improvement on those roads other than gravel? You thought about-
Well,
I mean, otherwise we're graveling, what, every 2 years if we were to keep up with it?
Well, I know the last time I asked this question, which was, I'll just say pre-pandemic, I was told that the city had to use our fees to set aside money to do an overlay on the blacktop from the bridge, East Bridge to the caretaker house. $40,000 is what they were setting aside. Well, we're $8,000 a year is what I know we're over $8,000 a year barrack
Mhm.
leases. So my point is we're getting nothing for our lease. Truly.
Yeah.
So what's the ethical thing to do? What's the logical thing to do is what I'm asking.
I
the
would
city
think
council to
logically
do.
the short-term thing would be to get some gravel out there.
Right.
Long-term, you need to figure out how we can set it up out there so you don't have continue to have these ruts out there and water drains like it's supposed to. And I'm not sure what you
Right.
can do with gravel to
Well,
direct it
and
that way.
like I said, there's kind of 3 stages right there at the church. There's another pothole there at the church that I don't know if there's a way to somehow divert the water to go west down that other little side road that goes by the RV dump station or not, but that's a spot. And the same thing at one time, there was a pretty good speed bump of gravel there at where you come off the asphalt to the lodge parking lot. That might have helped divert a little bit. But like I said, we get a river running down there. I doubt asphalt is, the long-term asphalt around there, I don't know what that would be, but just about everybody else around the lake has asphalt now. So anyway, that's what I'm asking for. At least get some gravel up there so we don't have people twisting ankles and doing things that might make you liable, but I don't know, since it's your responsibility. All right, thank you.
All right, Larry, appreciate it. Any more public comments? Michael?
I'm just trying to streamline this. I stay in the Prairie Winds apartment.
Uh,
My name is Michael Starks. I got pictures for days of mold, rats, and there's a lot of elderly women there. Some of them great grandmothers. And, so they've been here a long time, and our landlord, we all pay our rent on time. Actually, I pay my rent early. A lot of people pay their rent early. And we've been having a rodent problem that has not been fixed. There's also bugs in some of the elderly women's apartments. I have pictures of all of this, and mold, black mold in some of the elderly people's apartments. They're scared to come up here to talk to y'all because they're going to end up just going. But I can only imagine if these people was your grandmama, your mama, your mama, my mama, your grandmama, your mama, there'd be something done about it. And I'm black, not trying to pull a race card, but it's like I've lived in places that was rough, but I was like, man, this is bad. Like somebody needs to do something. The landlord does nothing.
You've talked to the landlord out there and they won't.
He stays in Olathe, Kansas.
This is the one I brought up last week,
Mhm.
last meeting.
Mhm.
We all pay our rent on time.
Right.
And
I'm
I
gonna.
ain't got to do nothing for me. Just do it for the elderly women. I even got pictures.
I
Some of them
understand.
don't even like it, but they was like, "Hey, you going up there to the city council? Hey, we got pictures for you."
Yeah, well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming up, and I don't have an answer for you, so I'm going to turn this over to our attorney to give you a suggestion on what you need to do because we have nothing to do with the Prairie Wind Apartments, to my knowledge.
Yeah, and I believe we discussed last time. Yeah, we don't have necessarily a nuisance code that works in this circumstance.
I mean, the only thing that we could do is the lawn mowing. We talked about that because I did talk to somebody who mentioned that they were telling you guys to do the lawn mowing, which is obviously not okay. So I said, is there anything we can do since that is a
Charge
violation
the landlord something.
of our?
Or something
See,
that
the problem is I'm afraid they'll penalize the landlord and they'll just kick it back to you guys. So that's where I kind of stopped. And I've heard several times that they've hired at least 2 to 3 different lawnmowers and then never paid them. So I'm not sure because basically what happens if you don't mow your lawn and we give you the paperwork and then we come and mow your lawn, then we charge you for it like $75, probably more for that.
Not you guys, that will charge the
The
landlord.
landlord,
What
but
about the elderly women?
I know
What can they do? Because that's not right. I don't care about me. I can take care of me.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to speak up for people that can't take up for themselves. I mean, like,
Right.
I'm thinking there might be a state agency that can handle this.
I think you're gonna have to take it, to the county and probably the state at this point because we don't own it anymore. the landlords that are running it obviously need to get in trouble for what they're doing. I'm not sure.
We should have done better at looking into who we.
Apparently,
selected,
I
which is
guess.
why
We
Yeah, the,
can only do
from
so
the
much.
beginning And we'll call
There,
the bill in.
yeah, there'd probably be public health agency with Muncie County. But as I told you last time, the two is that each tenant has a right under the Kansas Residential Landlord Tenant Act to make 30-day demand on a landlord under the state statute to say that you have to correct certain things. No telling if they'll do that, but that can be a method that you bring it to their attention and do some things. I've never done it, but that's a possibility too. It's just the city doesn't have any tools to regulate leases.
So you can't deem it uninhabitable?
Well,
Yeah,
if we
so
deem
that's
it uninhabitable, they have to be removed. People have to be removed.
Be homeless then, yeah.
Not exactly my.
And then the state can't even house the elderly. I mean, I'm sure there's resources out there. I mean, I'm sure you got pools somewhere. Mr.
Yeah.
Attorney.
No, I don't have that kind of pull. That's just the issue. I mean, I don't know what the answer is after they're removed based upon a nuisance. And I'm trying to figure out that statute.
Have you tried contacting the county health department?
Yes, we have, but that's a process. I'm trying to get I got all the signatures. Everybody's on board to do it. It's just, that's not cool to them. Like, I don't care. I can just sky up out of Eskridge but
Yeah,
you still got people suffering, man.
I know.
We agree.
You get
I
the
mean,
grass cut, that's inviting the rodents in. And there's elderly people. Like, surely somebody on this board can kick it back to somebody, even if I gotta give money somewhere to help. It ain't right. I'm living in a rough place, Las Vegas, whatever. Fine. That's messed up. And elderly people with mold, that's not right. And just to sit back and not care, I kind of find that appalling. Y'all should be able to do something. It's in your city, it's in your jurisdiction. Y'all can do something. At least the basic part of it. And the rest of it, I can understand. It's substantial. It's not lucrative for y'all. But at least do something about the health side of it. I'm just coming up and talking to y'all.
Mhm.
I don't have, if I had $5,000, I'd get somebody to come up in there and do it. But I don't. Y'all have the pool to do it. I've researched. Mayor, you can do something about it. And Mr. Attorney, you also can too. So I'm insisting. At least for their sake. Even if I got to get up out of Eskridge and then y'all do something about it, that's fine. At least that's something that can be done. But that's not right, man. I live with these people, they're good people. And they don't deserve it.
Well,
At least not them. You can do something, man.
I don't have a problem helping. I don't have a problem helping you, but my portion of helping would be contacting the Muncie County Health Department.
Well, can
And
you
have-
at least
and
do
having
that?
them
That way your
down
man
and
says,
inspect
"Hey,
it."
don't."
Maybe they'll see the name Mayor and act on that as opposed to the name Michael Starks. I mean, that I can do that for you.
Please.
All right. Do you have an email address or a contact number that I
Yes,
can
sir.
get from you?
I can give you both. I can email 702-201.
Hang on, you want to do this on?
We're on camera, so you can just write it down
Oh,
for
Yeah,
me.
once you're on.
Unless you want to have Ray calling you.
555.
Hold on.
I don't mind. 702-201-7689.
Okay.
And my
702-201-7689.
yes, sir.
Okay.
And my email address is Mike Jazz Fusion. MikeJazzFusion@gmail.com.
Spell the last part of that Fusion.
Like fusion. FUSION.
Lisa got it. I see it over
Okay.
Yeah, I know we don't have a public officer at the moment, but is there any of those complaints that we could
I even got pictures.
write to the landlords about? I mean, if we know a rodent problem exists, isn't that part of the public
this-
ordinance?
It depends on what rat stoppage is to stop it from spreading, not necessarily if it's within the home itself.
Oh, man, there is one last thing. Everybody pitched in to cut the grass. We all poke. It is what it is. The neighbors, we all pitched in to cut the grass because the landlord don't like paying people. He doesn't at all. And we actually had a felon cut the grass. He just got out of penitentiary. He actually got his family to cut the grass. That's how pathetic it is.
Well, I have no authority
I
to
say charge him, take the lead from him.
do that. And I can't give you any advice on not paying them for not doing what they need to do to make the place livable. I can't give you advice like that. Let me call the Wabunsee County Health Department and I'll get back in touch with you. How's that? Fair enough? Fair enough. Okay.
Thank you, boss.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. Excuse me. At this time, I'd like to welcome Holly Boyce, who's with the Flint Hills Regional Council, and she is a grant writer. It was requested that Holly attend a meeting and introduce herself to the council and give us some information on grants. And I was hoping maybe there'd be an individual or two here from the city that was interested in childcare. And I don't know who this young fella is.
I'm Patrick Shire. I'm with 265.
Okay, all right, good enough. Good enough. I know there's a man named Matt that I expected to be here, but I haven't never seen him and I've never met him, so I don't know what he looks like. But anyway, Holly, the floor is yours.
As I said, I'm Holly Boyce with Flint Hills Regional Council. You've probably seen Jana here before, and so I work with her. And so I was hired by the Flint Hills Regional Council just in the past year to help extend our services further for a lot of the smaller communities that may not have been receiving as many services as others. And so we've got the brownfield that Jana's been working on, and I'm here to present some other grant opportunities that may be worthwhile for the city to look into and to converse with me about and talk about some of the ways that I can be a resource for you here. So I have a few things. I wasn't able to, my printer sort of gave out on me, and so I wasn't able to print out as many as I wanted to, but I have a couple of CDBG info sheets that you can look at and maybe pass along. And it's, I think, 5 pages or so that kind of tell you what community development block grants are and the categories that were the 2023 categories, which may be the same next year. There may be a few changes. Sometimes there's a few changes year to year. And then
tell me Parks on it again because we missed it.
Yes, Parks is on there.
For next
Sidewalks, and so there's actually a couple. I'm gonna put these down for now. I'll tell you what those are later. But there's actually a couple different project types with CDBG. One of them you'll see on the first page or the second page that is the annual competitive grants. And so those have a deadline that is typically February 1st or near the beginning of the year. And those typically will change from year to year. And then the ones you'll see on the page after that are open year round. And so now that the deadline has just passed for this year's annual competitive category, so I'm starting to focus more now on helping communities look at some of those year-round open grants through CDBG and see whether that's something that might work for them for some projects that they have. So one very important aspect of this is that a lot of the grants rely on low to moderate income percentage for a requirement. And Eskridge is, as of the 2015 LMI data, which was the last data that was out, is 47.87% low to moderate income. And a lot of these have a baseline of 51% or more. But the good news is that the Department of Commerce has announced that they're coming out with new data this year. And they haven't given me an exact date, but they expect it'll be by the end of the summer, we will have that new data. And seeing as the low to moderate income percentage of Eskridge is so close to that number, it's very likely that you'll end up over the 51% and be eligible for a whole lot more opportunities through CDBG.
We did actually do our own LMI and qualified with that.
Oh, yes?
So,
When was that?
it's expired now, so.
It is, okay.
2015.
Okay, so it is.
So we
especially
know that we can get that, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so that's another reason why I have Eskridge on my radar as far as opportunities on the horizon. So just to talk about a couple of these, I know I've spoken with Terry a little bit about what sort of needs Eskridge has, and he had mentioned to me about community restrooms in the park and needing a sidewalk, some electrical work there with bandstand and that type of thing. And some of these categories, there's an annual competitive category for parks and sidewalks that would serve that purpose.
Are those matching grants of any kind?
Yes,
or
I was just about to mention
Okay,
that
sorry.
most of the grants are a 25% match. But then you have some other ones such as childcare and the youth job training category that are done in a different way than low to moderate income percentage of the city. Instead, it's done by certification method, which means the beneficiaries have to be at least 51% of the beneficiaries have to be low to moderate income. So for childcare, how that looks is the families of the children who are in the childcare facility. And for youth job training, that could be, for instance, if a program is being funded by the youth job training grant to help teach kids a specific career, something in their career, like a class, then 51% of the students in that class would self-certify or bring a form back to their families to fill out and say that I'm low to moderate income, and then that's how that is calculated at the state level. So it's sort of interesting to go through. There is the kansascommerce.gov website has a CDBG page that they actually just recently redid their entire website, and so it looks a lot better and it's easier to navigate now. Has a whole list of those categories and individual documents that you can bring up for the requirements and everything that goes along with those. But I wanted to mention the Parks and Sidewalks one and the childcare and how that works differently as far as requirements are concerned and the low to moderate income. There's also, I know match can be difficult for some of the smaller communities. So Terry and I have talked quite a bit about childcare and whether there's an opportunity for that in the area. And there's an accelerator grant through All In for Kansas Kids that can work as match dollars for the childcare grant. So if you're thinking, oh my goodness, the match, who knows if we'll be able to do that? There are sometimes opportunities like this that come up that are funds that can be used as match dollars. So don't be too discouraged when you're looking at that 25%. Sometimes things can be found to play into that. And the other thing I wanted to mention about the match is that only 10% of the 25% match needs to be cash. The rest of that percentage can be in kind, which is another big advantage when it comes to trying to get that match for the smaller communities. One of the non-competitive grants I wanted to mention is the Commercial Rehabilitation Grant. This is another one that it's based on blight determination rather than low to moderate income. And so whether that new data comes out in favor of 51% or more or less, it's something that you could go after either way, or something that you could start on and work with me with before getting that data, knowing that the data is not going to affect eligibility. And that's it's for for-profit owners or for-profit businesses, private owners of buildings that are out of code in some way, Something I've seen a lot for these is that part of the roof is caved in, or they've got a mold problem, that kind of thing. And so the commercial rehabilitation grant can serve to take care of all of those coding issues for the building all at once. And it's the same, it's a 25% match for that one as well. But that's what I'm talking a lot with a lot of communities about, because that's kind of, we're getting into where we've got a long period of time before the next annual grants are due. And so looking at some of those that are outside of that are year round and on a different basis than competitive. There's a couple other grants I wanted to mention while I'm here, but do you have any questions for me regarding CDBG?
That last one, commercial rehabilitation, is that maybe like a next step after some of this brownfields work?
It very well could
So,
be.
okay. Identifying some of the hazards within
Right.
buildings and
Exactly. Fully versed on all of the EPA brownfield things. You have to talk to Jen a little bit more on that one, but I believe it would be a good next step for those.
And at this time, as we're talking, is there a fee for you doing this work?
No, there is
Okay.
not for grant writing. The grant administration, if we were looking at that comes out of the grant, and it would be part of the grant money. And so I'm actually, as of last July, since I started working for the Flint Hills Regional Council, I had not done too much grant writing in the past. I was a writer, but I wasn't a grant writer. And so a lot of my applications I've been submitting are my first applications. And so for the time being, there's no grant writing fee for me to assist with grant writing at all. So that's another advantage.
And I bring that up because I feel a sense of urgency after talking with Jerry Lonergan recently that the possibility exists 2 years down the road, maybe 3 years down the road, that there will be a fee for your services.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to stress the urgency of getting some of these grants taken care of now to avoid having these fees placed on us in the future.
Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons that we haven't built that fee into things already is that we're still looking at how much time it takes to write one of these federal grant applications and what, everything that is involved into that. Because Flint Hills Regional Council, before I was on staff, has not ever done CDBG grant writing at all, or any of that. So it's new for the entire organization, not just me.
I have a question. Is there any type of grants or funding or anything that would like get us ready for a grant? When I say that, so many projects, it seems like a lot of this money is just coming, hard and fast as far as like, oh, it's a very short timeline. It just seems like that's every single grant under the sun right now. And it's like, you've got a month or two to apply, but yet you have to have this big, engineering type of study, and you have to have like a, fully ready to go project. And we don't necessarily have that because we're not, just going out and spending money on engineering services just to get a project that we put on the shelf, and then, maybe a grant at some point meets our needs, and then we take that off the shelf and we try to go for it. So I mean, trying to get to where we actually have projects that are kind of ready to be funded, I guess. Is there anything like that, like a kind of a pre-grant grant?
Not as far as I know, and that can be tough.
Yeah.
Because yes, there are costs that are typically incurred before grant award, and typically the grant will not cover those costs. But the Kansas Department of Commerce, and I've been working with them very, very closely, just in the process of learning everything about CDBG and submitting a few grants just for the annual competitive category this year. They're very the people that I've worked with are very willing to be flexible and figure out what may work for one community versus another community and that type of thing. An example I can give of that is that by the time an application is put in, a community, they're not requiring communities to have a full environmental assessment for the project done yet. Just planned, and so that type of thing is why it's so much nicer to work with on the state level rather than working with people at the federal level, is that little bit of flexibility. So if we're doing a project, working with me on it, I can work with them and be that connection to see what might work in situations where you're not sure whether there's the funds available to do the preliminary architectural report or that kind of thing. They're very willing to work with us.
Okay.
Any other questions about CDBG?
Well, to tag on his question, like the LMI survey has, I believe, an expiration of 5 years.
Something like that, yeah.
Is there something like that with the engineering report? Let's say that we do have an idea and we do move forward. Let's say we get the engineering design or whatever that we need for a certain project. We don't get the grant. Can we, as he said, put that design on the shelf for a year, 2 years, 3, or are they going to demand a brand new one every single time?
That's a very good question, and I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
So I will have to go back and ask them. But I do believe that one question I had asked that was answered was that it could be used for the following year. I don't know when that is cut off.
Or
Or
maybe
that.
the following
Right,
years.
exactly.
It would be nice if we had a checklist of, did you get your survey? Did you get your engineering report?
Yes, and they're so they read on their website, which is great. They need to redo some of their resources. There are resources available on the Commerce website on that. It's kansascommerce.gov/CDBG is where you can find a lot of those resources. They have checklists, but they're limitedly useful. They're combined with some of the categories. So it can be difficult to take out, if you're looking at whether a certain project will work, take out what is exactly needed for this category versus the 3 that they made this checklist for, that kind of thing. So when I worked with Alta Vista, we recently put in an application for a park project for them. When I worked with Ryan there and some of the council members there, I was making my own resources based off of the Commerce resources. I made a checklist specifically for their project and that type of thing. So it's a lot of asking them questions, getting answers, and then putting it into your own format to make it work. Hopefully it won't be like that forever. Hopefully they'll update their resources a little bit better now that they've updated their website. So yeah, but I'll have to ask about how many years a preliminary architectural report, a preliminary engineering report would be good for. Jana, do you know the answer in the back? Oh yes.
I have a comment maybe to Justin's point. So this company I work with we do a lot of estimates for projects just like this, and we've done a ton of them here this spring just because all the grants came out. And it feels like the Department of Commerce wants projects that are on the shelf, like we're ready to go, our community's invested in this particular project. That's what it's been feeling like. That's why it feels like there's such a short time frame to get the thing done. What we've seen though is when they get published of what grant project might come out, is to have that plan in place for the engineering or the construction. What I do is having an estimate or a company ready to do an estimate for that project so that you can hurry up and get that thing up to speed without spending a lot of funds. So really having a plan in place to get that project up and ready to go and submit for that grant. It feels like there's like a month and a half. It feels like there are a lot of these grants that are coming across.
Yeah, so there's also a lot of newer, they had a lot of turnover recently at the state level, and so that creates a lot of people there who are not completely up to speed with their own programs. So that's also a conflict there where they'll say, oh, you have time to put something in, and it's weeks away, and you're like, no, you don't have time. So they're still figuring that out.
Do you know when they announced the 2024 like the New Year's annual competitive grants?
So last year they announced them in the fall.
Okay.
So if they do that again, it'll be in the fall.
Okay.
So if they
There's
announce
a
it in the
hard and
fall,
fast.
is the deadline in the fall?
No, it's
No.
this. So they did it in the fall. It was in May. I found it May 1st and went.
Yeah, the deadline typically yearly is in February 1st. This year they delayed it to May, but typically they announce it in the early fall,
And they do
deadline February 1st.
Yeah.
But I found just from the working in the past year that it's very important to start your projects and start planning long before that.
Yeah.
So typically, we could probably look at the website today, for example,
Mhm.
even though the deadline's passed, there's a possibility that it will be presented again in the fall, and we could actually kind of get started towards that sort of thing. And then-
Absolutely, and that's what I would suggest.
Yeah.
A lot of the categories this past year, not a lot of them, a few of them were new categories just in the past year. So it's very likely that they will still be around for the next application period. They're not likely to be getting rid of any of their new programs. Any other questions about CDBG for now?
For now,
Not yet.
anybody?
Okay. Terry has my email, and my email is also on the final page of those documents. I'm sorry I didn't have enough to spread around to all of you, but you can just talk to Terry, and if you need to get a hold of me for any more questions or questions that I don't know that I can bring to Kansas Commerce and figure
Would you
out.
be able to email those documents to me and then I could just forward it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I got it.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
And you have her
I run the
email address.
board for us, coach, so I'm sure I'll be reaching out to you soon.
Probably not.
Yeah, there's a couple other that I wanted to mention. One that Flint Hills Regional Council and Jerry, specifically our director, has been really on top of trying to get out to the communities is the Economic Development Administration Disaster Supplemental Funding. And the Denver Regional Office has $57 million that they're trying to give away pretty much to communities that in 2021 and 2022 had declared disasters. And so Wabansie County is one of the counties that had a declared disaster based on windstorms and that type of, I think it was all windstorms in this area. So they have a NOFO, which is the notification of funding, and it's very open-ended. And so we've been meeting with some organizations and with some cities to make them aware, but also to try to get some suggestions, ideas of what a project in this area may look like, so that we can give it to them and say, hey, would this possibly be eligible for this funding? Because they're currently their eligibility standards are very open-ended and very a lot of grants like this, not this one, but most grants like this, the project has to be related to the disaster. This one is not that way. So that's another reason why it's so open-ended. So we're trying to pretty much talk with communities, make one-page summaries, give it to EDA to say, hey, is this eligible? So if you want to talk as a city and try to think of something that may be something you want to try to get funding for, you can talk to me and we'll see whether that might work out. And Terry knows a little bit more about this. We presented about it at the board meeting, but I wanted to mention it so you all knew.
Is it possible for a city to go for more than one at a time?
For a city, a county, I think could. I think so. I think multiple projects in one area, you could apply for multiple projects.
We could take the whole 57 million.
Well, Kansas has the majority of the areas that were designated in the region. So Kansas is likely to get the majority of that. So we're trying, Flint Hills Regional Council is trying to be really proactive in getting this funding to the Flint Hills area until I remember his first. So try to get real quick and work with them. And then the last thing that I put on the table, a couple, I think, are those it over there? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, a couple of them I put around. That's the mural grant. That's a little bit further away on the horizon, but we learned about it pretty close to the deadline this past year. This year, and so it's what's cool about this grant. It's for murals in the smaller communities. What's cool about it is if you take a look at the match requirements, there is a match exception for communities with populations of 2,000 or fewer, to where the entire match can be in kind. So there's no cash match required. So it makes it just a very easy grant to go for that doesn't have a cash match. And Jerry and I were talking about this even a little bit today, about how to sort of present that to you. And we're looking at like how we can maybe take a few cities and do a more regional approach to this, and see whether we could do like a few projects in the region with 1 or 2 applications. I'm not sure exactly at this moment how that may look, but just for you to keep an eye on for the horizon, where might be a good location to put a mural. And we have some contacts as well of muralists who may be interested and that type of thing.
You have a Buttercrest building that could use a repaint job.
And this grant also includes some minor repair things. So if you find a place that would, the side of a building looks very, very good and is right at the beginning of Eskridge or whatever, and it's got some damage on there, the grant will help to pay to repair that. So that's cool. Thanks. And that is all that I have for now. As I said, Terry has my email, and I will also email these out as well, the documents that I had on the table today. Is there any questions for me?
I have a bunch, but I will wait and give them to you in email form.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, great. Well, thanks again.
Thank you,
Thank
Holly.
you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
you
Holly.
taking the time to come out and talk with us this evening.
Absolutely. I want to help as much as I can to bring funding into our Flint Hills area and make it look beautiful with some of these.
Sure.
Other,
I'll give Lisa your email address so she can contact you, then you'll have her email address to contact back.
Okay, that'd be great.
Paperwork.
Yes.
Okay, thank you again. Jana Williams now, you all are familiar with her. I'm curious, are you online or we lose it?
I am not, because my computer has a slight malfunction.
Is it
I don't have,
battery?
it needs a charger. Could you call Rick on that number? I'll just put him on speakerphone. I don't have cell service.
Oh,
Does somebody
we can
call?
get him on our landline, can't we?
Yeah, or I was gonna say, if you have Wi-Fi, can you call him? Can you do Wi-Fi calling?
I cannot. No, I just tried to call him.
Zoom meeting or something?
It was, but it's not. Should I just have him call in?
She's gonna get a landline brought in here and we can look it up.
Glad you came down, because I don't know how to let you know. It's almost over.
Yeah.
When are we getting rid of the dumpster beside here? Didn't you say?
This Friday, I believe it's this Friday, 26th.
And of course,
Is that full?
I couldn't see anything in it from just the ground level looking, so I don't know. Lisa, how full is the dumpster, you know?
This is the third one. We brought it,
all right.
Thursday or Friday.
We're getting good use out of them.
Yeah, I'm still not done with it.
Yeah.
Did somebody go in there?
It's phone
All
numbers.
right then.
422. Oh, 765.
Oh, shoot. 1202.
Oh, 262. Hi, Rick. This is Jana Williams. I had a bit of a malfunction, but we're just going to call you and do this by phone, kind of like we did the last time. Again, I'm Jana Williams with Flint Hills Regional Council Regional Planner and Project Manager for the EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant. And we just wanted to give you a brief update. We do have some things to report. And I will let Rick kick it off with the Phase 1 ESA update.
Okay. So we did a Phase 1 ESA of 9 parcels downtown on Main Street. I guess one of those parcels is owned by Ethridge, and then 8 are owned by private parties. And we have our report completed, and like to move forward to the next step. But so I'll just briefly go through the Phase 1 and our results. I did have a figure. I'm not sure if you're able to show that, Jana.
I'm not, sorry.
Okay. Well, basically, the Phase 1, we began to research known information about each property and surrounding properties with respect to possible spills to the subsurface, like the soil or groundwater. And so we did it. We accessed like state databases and EPA databases, property records, etc. And then we also did a walkthrough of each property and inspected them just for obvious signs, surface staining, if there's any tanks there that could cause spill. And then based on that, we did complete the Phase 1, and I think the major items here are that, for the most part, based on the age of the site buildings, all of the buildings could have asbestos or lead-based paint in them. And so if it's present there and it's going to be torn down or refurbished, then that would have to be managed, and there's a cost associated with that. If the properties are going to stay the way they are, if there is asbestos and lead-based paint present, it just has to be managed. So, for example, lead-based paint, if there's flaking paint there, it just needs to be painted over and maintained. And if there's asbestos, it would need to be sealed so that it's not turning to dust. And then also we looked at the surrounding area to see if there's anything that could be impacting all of the properties. And there is one leaking underground storage tank on the former county property, and that's located on First and Cedar. That tank spill has been in the record since the 1990s. They did do some sampling and excavated contaminated soil, but there's still a question whether there could be a groundwater spill there. And groundwater is flowing to the southeast, so there is a possibility that it could be impacting the sites on Main Street there. There also was a former rail line that ran east-west. It actually went through the former lumberyard property, and it was, I think it was there until the 1950s or so. Rail lines are associated with, there could be spills, due to loading and unloading, and that sort of thing. So that's a possibility that there could be an issue from that. And there again, based on the way groundwater is potentially flowing, that could impact all the properties. Then there was a leaking underground storage tank, former Clark Standard, on East 2nd in Maine. You can tell that that was a gas station. We don't think that's affecting anything. And had clean closure, and also it's down gradient with respect to groundwater flow. So there was one other issue, a possible issue, is that the fire house, number 5, if they were using fire foam for fire training at that location, there's a possibility for migration of, I think you may have heard of PFAS. It's a new word. It's forever chemicals. There's a possibility for contamination related to that. But we don't have any records saying that there is. Those are all potential. Then the actual sites themselves, there were several sites that potentially we think could have soil or groundwater contamination related to the former site uses. And I think we would first want to talk to those property owners one-on-one before we shared that, and to see if they wanted to do any sampling moving forward. So I guess the biggest thing is we think it makes sense to do asbestos lead-based paint surveys for all the properties. I think they're all going to have some kind of action in the near future. Most of them, either refurbishing and or selling, or some of them will have parts of them torn down, most likely. So that would be very good information. Once you know there's asbestos lead-based paint, it doesn't trigger anything necessarily until you actually do site work. And then you may be need to actually manage that appropriately, and then probably send it to the right waste receptor. Then you could choose to do some soil and groundwater sampling too. We were going to evaluate any of those off-site courses that I mentioned. Sampling could actually be done in the street right away and or alleys. So that would be something potentially that we would work with through the city on that. And then after we have a chance to talk to the private property owners, there could be a few sites that might warrant some soil and groundwater sampling at those. That's what I've got. Any questions?
How soon are they going to get with us?
That's our next step, Rick. When Rick wants to come here and visit with all the property owners, so Rick, we might talk about when you're available and what would be a good date, because he could be here in person for the council as well.
Oh, pretty much any time in June. Except for Friday, June 23rd for me.
Would that go? I mean, he could come here for the day and then meet people here, perhaps.
Yeah, do we need to organize that with the owners, or do you contact them?
Well,
What's the
either.
procedure here?
If I have all their contact information, I can. Or, I mean, what we're thinking of is if people wanted to meet as a group, they could. Or if everybody wants to meet with him individually, we could spend a day here and just meet people all day.
I think the concern would be coordinating everybody being able to get here at one time.
Yeah.
Right.
I would suggest maybe getting as many people together as you can and have that meeting and then meet the others individually if they can't make a particular time.
Yeah.
I forgot. what's
Sure.
that one?
The brownfields.
On the Main Street.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure that we wouldn't want to meet individually anyway. Even if we could get a group together, I would think that we'd want to meet individually
Okay.
on.
And that's what we
Yeah,
want to make
rather than-
possible.
Mhm.
We want to do that for you.
What happened to me like everyone
Makes
did with
sense.
this
So we probably just need to pick a day that he could be here. He seems to be open up until June 22nd.
And see if we can put times in, kind of like a parent-teacher meeting
Mm-hmm.
throughout the day. All right, let's go for that, Jerry. All right.
Okay.
Jen, I have a question. This came in the mail
Okay.
for just one of the properties.
Well, KDHE is doing two properties. 103 Cedar, is that 103
Yep,
Cedar?
that's what it is.
And then there's another
Or
one. they're
101
doing-
Cedar, I'm sorry. This says
101
101
Cedar,
Cedar.
and then there's another one they're doing as well. Do you recall the address of the other? Oh,
I bet it's
the
the
little gas station.
40 whatever
Yeah.
North Main.
It is.
Okay.
Okay.
They are doing those because remember when we had the meeting last
Mhm.
year, we were gonna divide it up because there were so many. So KDHE is doing those two. So that's your I believe that's a phase one
Uh-huh.
or is
Yes.
it phase two?
Phase one.
Just a phase one. So then KDHE will reach out to that property owner and ask them, go through that with them,
So
much like Rick will do.
do I need to give this to the property owner?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna meet with Seth Metling.
Yep.
Tomorrow, so I'll ask him, I'm sure he'll reach out to them.
Okay.
Go through the process with them.
And that property owner's here tonight.
Oh,
This is for Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the other one.
okay. He's gonna reach out to you. I asked him the status of those two, so I'm glad to see this, yours should be right behind it, so.
Okay, so I just need to get this to the property owner
Mhm.
because there wasn't anything to tell me what to do with that. So, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Okay, so we'll work on a date that's good for Rick to come out. And then I had a couple more updates. One is we are in the process of doing market study. That's kicked off. It should be delivered on July 17th. And then we have scheduled to bring in the consultant that's going to present that information on July 24th at your city council meeting on the 24th of July. And I will bring my cord that night. The other thing is we're also doing, after they get the economic and the market study information, they're going to do an area plan, and these are both through KSU tab. And so that area plan will be a community-driven downtown plan that will go through KSU tab. So hopefully we can get that started as soon as the market study comes in. The other thing is we can access free structural studies, and Rick recommends that everybody that participated in the phase one get a market study. And again, these are all at no cost. So we want to start those applications this week. That funding, I believe, starts in June. So we all need to reach out to everybody about that too. So maybe at the same time when we're trying to find times. So I think that's all I have to say. Have I missed anything, Rick?
No.
Things are just kind of
Yeah.
moving along.
Sounds good to me. Brett or Nick, any questions?
Are they gonna call us on phone? Are you gonna contact them phone, via email?
I will take your number. What is his name?
This is Nicholas Hunter.
Do we have his email on that list?
I really don't know, and I apologize
I don't
because I
either.
just was the project was already so far into it when I. Nick, can you share your phone number and email address with Jana?
She'll come up there. You don't need to announce it over the recording. She's coming to you.
My card and you can email me.
Can I get one of your cards?
Yes.
Any Anybody else? Council? Anything else?
But I can give this to Nick now.
All right, Jana, thank you very much for that update. Appreciate your coming down, and apologize about the computer that.
Just late reading.
Yeah.
I will let you finish your reading. I'll clean up later.
Get a test on
No.
that tomorrow.
You can clean up while we're just I don't care. It's fine.
Okay.
Won't be a distraction. All right, next up, KCC tariff for accepted payment methods. Oh, Rick, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
If you're still there, thank you. Okay.
You've just been cut off.
So when you, real quickly, when you meet with everybody, all the business owners individually or in a group, are you gonna come to a council meeting again and talk about it after that?
Well, we had talked about doing that.
Would you want to do that the same day, like meet during the day with the people and then we have a council meeting that night? Cause those are usually Mondays.
Right.
So the first Monday of June is the 5th.
We had talked about doing that on the same day, and then, because there'll be people that can't make it till evening anyway,
Mhm.
get them in from 5 to 7. So, certainly open to that, yes.
Okay.
So June 5th would be
No,
June.
June 12th. June 12th and
26.
26.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Yes, it is June 12th.
Second, okay.
I was looking at the first Monday.
I was gonna say.
That's my other meeting.
That's, you're gonna call it special.
Maybe plan on the 12th and see if we can make that work.
you're good. Do you have the information for this? Are you gonna talk about that?
I do. It's a formality. I was putting together information to send for the annual notice to KCC, which includes cold weather rule, complaint process, payment methods. Anyway, KCC does not have the tariff for us to accept credit card, debit card payments via internet. And so, like I said, it's just a technicality, and just wanted you to be aware that I'm sending that into KCC, so as part of the authorized payment procedures. So, just that. And I'll throw in real quick, like, deadline to file for elections is noon, June 1st. And the information is available on the Lindsay County Clerk's website, where I did print off a few applications, so.
Grab one going again.
Okay. They're right at the counter in that little pouch thingy. But anyway.
Is it legal to fill this out for somebody else?
I don't think.
Just asking.
You write my name down?
Just draft it in, Julie.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
So how drafting works. Against your will.
All right, moving on. Doc applications. We have 2 tonight. First one is Patrick and Kelly.
Yep.
Shutter.
And Patrick is here.
Patrick is here.
And Robin has gone out and said everything's okay there at that location. She's got a couple pictures here if anybody wanted to see them.
Robin, you within earshot?
Nope, she gone.
She left. She asked me to share these pictures.
Oh,
with
okay.
you.
All right, sorry.
Which one are we on if there's 2 of them?
Shutter.
It just says, oh, sorry, you said it.
The one that has
And that's
this on the
the only set of pictures Robin has, so. Although
Was there
Patrick
any
had an
questions
area.
about this property?
Is this one of the properties where they have paid for a dock to be built long ago and they just left the property vacant because they didn't want something else building it out there?
No, there's a dock there. Michelle's looking at the current.
Oh, Ponderosa Point.
So they want to tear down the
It's
dock and
yours.
rebuild.
He now owns your place.
Mm-hmm. Well, I knew it sounded awfully familiar.
So they're just getting rid of the wooden dock and putting it in.
Yep. It's got the diagram on the back of the application. Which is all within the guidelines.
tore out all the trees.
It tends to happen out there.
Yeah.
With no consequence.
Huh?
With no consequence.
Which street?
Sometimes we let them move the dock over after we do that.
Been there now.
And Patrick's here if you've got any questions for him. Oh, I heard we jumped over.
I'm not real familiar with the area. Is this dock? Are there? I'm going to assume there's plenty of docks along that shoreline.
No, there's really not.
No.
It's a very
Because my brother has the lot next, and it's an odd shaped lot. It's really long and narrow. Like front side, and then the next a lot over it.
My concern is, are you gonna make the dock stick way out into the water or keep it at a respectable distance from shore? Like,
It won't stick past the other two docks.
that's what I want to hear.
Do you know about how close it is to the next dock?
Yeah, it's like 20 or 30 feet.
Okay,
And then the next one over is like 50 or 60 feet.
okay.
And you only have one dock.
Only have one dock.
Oh, that other dock must have been torn out.
I
So
didn't hear the rest of his answer.
it's not.
Because I'm thinking of the boathouse dock that you already have.
It's on the other lot, 266.
You said the other lot. Is there a house on the other lot?
There's not. I was in here, I think 2 years ago, and the other one was an offending structure. So it was repaired as it was. Because otherwise I'd have to tear it down.
I wish you would take a picture next to this, because there was another dock. Where
So we have two docks and one structure. Is that right?
Well, I'm applying for lot 265, which has one structure and this dock.
So you have two cabins?
There's two parcels of property. One has a house, one does not.
And both properties that have a structure have plumbing, electrical, and you can live in.
No, I want to make sure I'm clear. There's only one habitable structure on 265. There is not a habitable structure on 266. There is a dock with the lot 266.
And I think that's where the problem's arising. Right? Am I wrong? Because in order to build a dock, you have to have a habitable structure.
Yeah.
He has a habitable structure, but he already has a dock for that habitable
Yeah,
structure.
it has to be associated with.
So the new dock would have to have a habitable structure
It goes with
because we don't
265.
allow.
This new dock goes with 265. He's replacing.
When was there a structure last existing at 266, I guess is my question.
As far as I know, there never was.
See, when my folks owned it, they bought that lot next to them. And there was already existing dock.
Predates the ordinances and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the one that they have fixed up. The boathouse, is that the one you're talking about? Or
Mhm.
yes, they have fixed it up. And they have a new roof, siding. It looks great.
Does it?
To approve this here?
Huh?
Approved here?
It was approved. We sent him a letter because of the dilapidated state of the building with the asbestos siding and the hole in the roof.
Oh, yeah.
And they came and we even asked them about shingles. They put a metal on there so that shingle runoff is not going into the water. I mean, they went the extra step.
Mm-hmm.
For that dock, it looks great. Fantastic. However, this dock needs a habitable structure according to our ordinance, correct?
Well, that's just what the problem is. I think depends on which dock is associated with which property.
This one is associated with this house.
Okay, so it's gotta have a
Yes.
structure.
So
It does.
I don't know.
The other one does not.
Right.
Okay, I was gonna say the other one, that would be like basically us
Who did I give
reassigning
this
that
to?
to him just because he happens to own both the parcel and
Well, he owns the
And,
lot
uh,
too, right?
the actual structure here. Well, yeah, sounds like it if that goes with the parcel, but
Yeah, well, I mean, that's his
that's-
point. Is that he's
I-
not grandfathered in, so
Mhm.
gotta have a structure.
These two properties are adjoining, correct?
They are,
Mm-hmm.
the other lots, I mean, it's buildable. And honestly, that'd be a future plan for somebody, probably, maybe me in 30 years, I don't know. Or if it's sold, that other dock would go with that lot. 266 would go with 266.
I don't go down that way. It's too painful.
It's also a pain in the butt to turn around or even get around.
Not if you know
But the
how.
house is 265 and the dock is
What's that?
265.
The old dock is 265.
Yes.
The one that's currently out there that's sitting behind
So
block
there's two
266.
docks.
I personally don't see
No,
a
his-
problem
his
with it
house is
beyond the
260.
docking moratorium, but that's,
But he has no dock on 265.
The dock
Yes, it
moratorium
does.
isn't
There's two
binding.
docks.
It's that we don't
This is-
allow,
this is
we
the
don't
dock.
allow
He's just wanting
any
to
docks
fix
to be built
You have to
without
refix
a
that
structure.
dock.
So like if he had
So
built
what's
a
the
cabin on the
266?
property,
It has a
then
dock and no property, so he's got two docks in one house.
of course he'd be
Right.
able to
That's
have
what
a
it
dock,
boils down to.
even if he had the moratorium.
There's an
to be
imaginary
allowed
line
them to
drawn
have
between
one
the two
Yeah.
docks that is the
for their house.
well, what if somebody else owned
Didn't you say that
the,
this
owned the
dock at
property?
266?
I mean,
has
it's
been
just
there
so
long before
happens
the
he
ordinances
happens
were
to own
coming
both
through.
of them.
Yeah.
Right.
When they're, it's kind of.
When
Yeah,
my
but it's
folks
not
bought it
such a
back in the
Rotterdam.
60s.
I think we can
Both
run
docks
into
were
is
there.
that there's
You
probably
mentioned
dozens and
grandfathered.
dozens of
Yeah,
people that
it's
have an extra
grandfathered in
lot
because it was
next
Well,
to
you
their
can't-
before
property
the
you
that's
ordinance.
can't
open and
prove it.
vacant.
Yeah,
And so
that's
that
the
just
thing.
opens the door
If you have
for
two docks,
them
you've
to
got
get docks,
grandfathered in. If you have
added
two
docks with no
One dock you
structures.
can go crazy with.
As,
fixing.
as long as the
The other dock
association
has to be
didn't
board for
exist
board,
before.
has to stay
I
the
mean,
way
I,
it is.
So 265 would have to be board for board and stay the way it is.
If we see the two docks as
I mean, they've already.
one structure, two docks. His
Yeah.
argument is, there's this little imaginary dotted line that divides us into two lots. It's on his property, they're both
They're separate.
Yeah.
Completely separate. Yeah, that's why I'm really applying for just 265.
it's,
The one structure with the one
So I
dock.
don't know how long that dock was there because it was there when my folks bought the place back in the 60s.
Well, what I was just explaining to Terry is, if you have one structure and two docks, one dock you can go crazy building it up
Right.
to the extent. The other dock, you can only do a board for board replacement. Well, his argument is, there's this little dotted line on a piece of paper that separates it into two lots. So both lots are his, both docks are his, house is his.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, I'm seeing a house and
I see what you're saying.
what if the parcel and the structure had a different owner? I mean, that's, where we've got records that's associated with 66. I mean, he just happens to have the, I guess, misfortune in this case of owning both the land that's next to his structure and the structure itself. And of course, the land that structure sits on, but that's, I don't know.
There is some precedence here too, Tim. I think last.
I'm aware there is, but we don't follow precedents. We do case by case. I'm aware of the situation you're wanting to bring up.
That's not the moving dock, is it?
This is
No.
No, not the floating dock.
No.
Just
No,
floating.
no, no, no.
The one we
No, it's not that one
moved.
either.
Okay.
No.
It's not
No,
saying-
That
that
wasn't
dock is not
really-
going
You'd
to
be
be
sensing
there
a little more animosity out of me if it was
Yeah,
that one.
that's what I thought.
It's
I don't know
not
what you're
that
talking
one.
about then, I guess.
because this dock, the metal poles go deep into the bedrock.
No, I'm not talking about the floating dock. I'm talking about one we relocated.
Yes, I understand.
Well, I think if done right, we would lift the vote for the dock moratorium for new builds. I mean, it doesn't make a sense. Excuse me. Doesn't, yeah, I'll learn to talk someday. Doesn't make any sense to approve a new dock while that's there, but I also don't think it makes a whole lot of sense that the moratorium's there to begin with. But
What's nothing to do with the moratorium?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the moratorium. It has to do with the fact that we only allow a dock per structure and there's no inhabitable structure on that lot. The moratorium has no basis on this at all.
If there was a house on there, then
If there was a house on there,
You
doesn't matter
understand
because there's already a dock.
Justin,
there's
you know
not.
this isn't a new dog, right?
yeah, this,
It is written a little odd.
It-
I mean, I
it
don't
says new. Okay,
But
well,
it's not. He's taking one out or rebuilding one.
okay.
That's
Is it a board
That
for
does
board?
change.
All
or
right.
is it-
Well, yeah, that, I'm sorry.
No, he's wanting
I see the
completely.
new check
There's
there.
a boat lift in there if I do board for board, which is really the goal, to get the boat out of the water. Otherwise it'd be oversized.
He's wanting to do a 2-story.
I see that.
Well, I guess I'm confused. His house number is 265
Mm-hmm.
and the dock number is 265.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the pictures that Robin took, so I guess I'm not sure what Brett's saying is all I'm,
well, but
Confused
you got the dock that was approved,
that goes with,
was 266, which goes with the blank lot.
I mean, technically it's 266. It's the issue, not 265. This dock is fine. You know what I mean?
But
But yet he has spent all the money fixing up the dock at 266, which that was approved, I imagine.
Yeah, for board, it was a repair, because it was deemed a
nuisance structure.
That might have been the time to deny him rebuilding
That's a valid
266.
point. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but we would have had this debate, we would have went back and forth, you see what I mean? Like, so I guess if he has that dock and it goes to the, what do you do, Todd?
I mean, I don't know it. I don't have a very good answer for this because this is just outside the ordinance. I mean, you've got an existing, I mean, with existing 2 dock certain circumstance, you would be able to board for board it. That's probably about the best result under a strict application of the rules. Because if this is not a board for board, it's not. I mean, he's basically got 2 docks for one habitable structure.
As many do on the lake. 2 docks for one habitable structure.
They're grandfathered in.
Right.
He is not.
if I was to not own that lot and the dock transferred with the lot for somebody else to build, it'd be the same amount of docks on the lake.
So the dock could be transferred, I guess, to somebody else, but.
There always seems to be a loophole here. We always seem to cave and not our favorite either.
Well,
Don't like this.
I don't know that there's an ordinance in the world that can meet every circumstance.
Right. This is
just working.
awfully unique since we made him rebuild the other one. And you did do a great job.
That was on you.
What?
Rebuild the other one, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and asbestos siding going into our drinking water and a hole in the roof and it's collapsing. So absolutely. I guess we should have made him declare that for his habitable structure at that time or made him remove it. That's
Which
so,
we didn't. So
which we didn't. So he probably knew that.
Well, they were both in bad shape. They needed fixed, and it is marketable to have the other lot with the dock. So it made sense to repair it and repair the other. I guess I just didn't ever think that it would be associated, like both docks would be associated with one lot when there's two lots there. It'd be different if it was built over top of the lot lines, and it's not. I mean, I would even, I guess I don't know how you put it in an approval, but make sure that I don't build over the lot line into the other lots. I don't have one structure on two lots.
that's what I was just entertaining in my mind is can we can we approve this? But if he is to if he is to eliminate the dotted line on paper that separates the two lots, then he has to eliminate the second dot.
I have no idea how you police that.
But you understand what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
So,
I understand what you're trying to get
so
at.
you
but-
can't turn it all into one lot with two docks.
It'd be a $300,000 mistake to do that.
Yeah. Every empty lot on there is probably $250,000, $300,000.
So what you guys are saying is that the ordinance, the way it's written, the only thing you can do is board to board repair on that 265 dock.
That's not what we're saying.
What are you saying?
We're saying we wish that that's what it was written, but I don't think that we can enforce that in this scenario.
And if you don't feel like you can enforce it, then why would you not approve it?
There's no reason to let him build a 2-story dock on an uninhabited lot.
Except there was a reason.
We already did that.
It was already
No,
there.
the dock that he fixed up, the old boathouse of Jocko's, he's claiming as the open lot with nothing on it.
Right.
So now he wants this smaller dock to be a 2-story whatever to go with his property.
Oh,
The bells and whistles.
gotcha, my bad.
So the habitable structure, the dock that's out back of it, is the dock in question,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct.
I'm gonna move to approve because I mean I don't think there's any way out of this, but I do think it was I'm just gonna
And I
with
would
that.
agree. I will second it.
Michelle already did.
Okay.
I was just quiet about it.
You're 30. I'm tertiating it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the structure permit at 265 Ponderosa Point. Excuse me, seconded by Michelle. Any further discussion? Those in favor? You're approved, Patrick.
Now is this an Airbnb property?
No.
So the one next door is, or is either one of the properties?
My brother next to me is.
Okay.
Thank you for consideration.
And when Robin went out and did that property inspection, didn't find anything on the property like upstanding fire pit, extra wide walkway. I mean, I just spoke with her during the week and there was a bunch of questions she had that she found at the property. So with him being here, now is the time to address it, but Robin's not here. But like, if he has a 7-foot walkway, like the pictures that I was shown, that needs to be brought back down to 4 feet. Do you
I
have
thought that's
parts
if
of
you
your
sold
walkway down to your dock that's 7 foot?
I thought it was sold.
There's probably a turn that's wider.
Not necessarily.
That's 7 foot and we only allow 4-foot walkways. So that walkway has to be
Cut down.
to a 4-foot walkway.
Okay.
And then
And I thought that was if you're selling property.
Well, that's
It
not,
has to be
you
on-
can impose it.
Okay.
The survey is required and the identification is required of the transfer.
right. But the reason why Robin's going out there and measure is to also find things that
Or non-conforming.
violations
Yeah.
that are non-conforming, which that is one of them I know from speaking with her is the walkway down there because I saw the pictures of it.
Okay.
The other was in question was some type of fire pit or something, but by the survey thing that she had, it looked like it was questionable because there's flags out there. So is that from a survey or what are those flags?
The neighbor had a survey done not on 268, but I think 269. So, and there was a flag that was on the corner of my
So
property.
she kind of, because there wasn't a current one of yours, because you're not just buying the property, she kind of went by that flag, and according to that, there's like a fire pit and something that was leaning in question to be on our property that would be a structure.
I don't think there is because so the weird thing is where the back of the property is, it it juts out where my brother's property is at, because there's an extension on the property that's weird on the back of the back property line. So I don't think I've got any structure or anything built in that's in the back. If the fire pit isn't either, it is in the
So it's
back.
like just like a metal, like very movable pit or something.
Yeah,
like
but
square,
I don't think
triangle, or-
it's not on the other property, or it's not on the city's property.
Okay.
It's probably close to the line.
Well, you'll be
but-
checking with her after the project, so she can come measure it when it's done and stuff. So,
Sure.
I mean, address that with her then. But the rockway definitely ought to be 4 feet. So
Okay.
you'll have to take 3 feet off of it.
Okay. I think I can do that with the construction of the dock.
Okay.
It's been there since Jock was under there.
Mm-hmm. That's why we have our public officer to find all of these.
He wants you to fix it.
I bet there's a lot of concrete there. Is my
It's been
guess.
changed a lot. Because
All right.
it was
Move on.
railing.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another dock permit request for 236 West Flint Hills Drive.
This is the current dock. It's 21 by 16, has a boat slip in it. He just wants to cover it, yeah, eliminate it and just put a solid deck on the top.
I'll move to approve. Oh, go ahead. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the Fritzen structure permit request at 236 Flint Hills Drive by Tim, seconded by Brett. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Opposed? It's approved. All right. Annie, department report.
So, you guys probably all know that we're having the Flint Hills Ride this weekend.
Yes.
I've had to clarify for a couple of people, so I'm gonna say it's on Sunday, not Saturday, just so you know. Registration's between 11 and 1. You drive your UTV or your Jeep or maybe your golf cart, that's a little dusty, out on the route that we'll provide you that day. And you return to the fire station for dinner.
Fire station here in Eskridge.
In Eskridge, yes, excuse me. That's where it starts and ends. I don't have anything really for that. That's just a reminder that we're having this event. It's a fundraiser for the pool and the park. So think about giving or participating, or you can even come and just eat dinner for $15 or $7 for kids from 4 to 7 p.m. I think that's the whole gist of it. But you can go on eskridgepark.org/ride to get that information. The other thing I want to talk about with council is that June 10th, obviously, is Symphony in the Flint Hills. One of the things that has been recommended to me is to provide restrooms. People will probably stop to use the bathroom. I am trying to get a couple food trucks out here because we have a lot of people flowing through. We've kind of talked about what it will look like versus what it looked like in 2007. And I've had a few chats with people who've gone in recent years, and it used to be like back when they came the first time, they really worked with the community and the communities did stuff, and people stopped and spent more time in the community. But it sounds like they kind of are their self-rolling entity now, so they may not actually stop here as much as we think.
That's my assumption.
Just as an FYI, because I know a lot of people have talked to me about, oh, it was so big when they came the first time. It may not be like that. They may just drive right on by and never stop. Stephanie will have the farmers market out, and they're going to run from 8 a.m. to noon, and they're encouraged to stay basically just as long as there's traffic and people are stopping. So our farmers market should run later that day. I'd like to put out some restrooms. I don't know what you guys think would be a good number. I have no idea. This is a shot in the dark guess. And like I said, I'm trying to get some food trucks. June 10th is like apparently everything for summer is on that day, I swear. I mean, I've been invited to 2 weddings now already.
Is the campground full that day, Julie?
I'm
Yes,
sure.
Or that week,
Yeah,
yeah.
and every rental house at the lake, I'm sure, has been gone for a while. and I'm also trying to get at least one band to come participate. But just as a warning, it may not be as big a deal as we hope. So just so you know, I'm trying the best I can. I won't be there that weekend, so I really can't do a bunch of stuff and put it somebody else and say bye. But we will have stuff going. I know. So I don't even know how much bathrooms are these days, but I don't know what a number. Do you guys have an idea? I know there's,
Bathroom at the gas station.
and they'll get very overwhelmed.
Cafe.
When's the last time somebody's looked at the restrooms at the park? You know,
I just looked at them when I text Mike and said, lock it up.
Yeah, I kind of like Julie's idea, kind of force them to stop at the businesses and patronize people, you know.
That's fine. We actually thought about, we could put some at the park because that's, I think, where some of the farmers market will be set up, or most of it maybe. I'm not sure. I gotta talk to Stephanie.
other than the farmers market, do you have any idea how many vendors are committed?
I don't know. That's not actually my
Is that Stephanie's?
thing. Stephanie would be ready. I can get a hold of her, but I probably won't know much before because it's only a couple weeks away now.
Right.
I predict they won't stop on Main Street really. The last time almost every building was open and most of those places had an exhibit or something in it and they had bathrooms, but none of those buildings I don't think are going to be open this time. So Dick's IGA, the Buffalo Inn, the Citizen Shop, the art studio won't be open. Those were all open with stuff in there going on the last time.
There was
the ceramic shop that was open will not be open. Langley's was open, that will not be open.
I did talk to somebody
Will not be
then,
open.
and they said they actually reached out and were very hands on with the community in 2007. Like they were wanting people to be out and open, but we haven't.
But they
I mean,
stopped
they'll
at
let
Main
us post
Street.
on their website, but that's
At 7, they stopped on Main Street.
Mhm.
They drove right past the park where everybody had little booths set. They drove right on past the park.
well, and that's, I mean, they'll stop for a drink, maybe food, and a bathroom. So I'm just thinking in logical terms, I guess.
Well, you gotta be realistic.
No, we don't have much open on Main Street anymore. It was very different.
Yes.
I know me and my grandpa have talked about opening a bar. We'd really like to, but
Yeah, it's I don't think that'll be ready in 3 weeks here, but
no. We don't even have the money for half the stuff that we need, let alone a bar.
yeah, none of us do, unfortunately.
All right. Anything else, Annie?
No, I guess not.
All right.
Am I on the agenda?
No, you're not.
There wasn't any departments on the agenda. I added
Oh.
myself.
I guess we
didn't
should
know.
add Julie.
Can I just
Julie's.
go ahead? I just have a couple things. I have a buoy out in the middle of the lake over by the dam and the actual where they ski and jet ski and whatever. In the actual middle of the lake. So
Who drugged that out there?
I don't know. But we'd attempted to put the boat out there the other day and it didn't work out so well. Apparently it wasn't seaworthy. So I don't know if somebody needs it. I mean, it's just dangerous though. I mean, if a kid comes along here, they're skiing, they're gonna hit it, or jet skiing and hit it. It's just in a bad spot. Anyway. And my other thing is the beach is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Yes, and it has been a great hit all week. And so far for the city, we're at $29,175.25, which is thinking like 5,000 or 6,000 more than last year. One other thing, I forgot I wanted to mention this. The fee for a boat on the lake for a day, you guys set that at $68. That's kind of high. They can, some of the boats, and that's even for a non-motorized, motorized. So like even a kayak, if they went on there for a day, it's gonna cost $68.
I think what she's getting at is that you've ran a dozen people off out at the lake that have driven here and they're mad and not gonna come back now because of it. And our website
Does
says
that-
one thing
yeah.
and it's actually
Our
$30
website says
more
it's
when you
$20.
get there. Yeah. So
So
it's
I
been a
have had
problem.
more than one of them come in and say, "Hey, your website is $20. Why is it 68?" So that definitely needs to be changed.
I thought we changed the kayak fee to 20.
Well, no, it's $30 for a year and $48 for a non-resident. 30 resident.
So $30 for a year.
Right. If
Or
you're a
68
if you're
or
a
$68
If you're
for
a
a day.
Buncey County
Yes.
resident.
Now, that doesn't make any sense at all.
I see 48 on here, but oh, 1 day. Okay, 1 day boat regardless of size. Okay.
It's in the pamphlet out there,
Yeah.
actually. So the pamphlet that people are getting handed, that's what it's printed in. And it's also on the
Last time we
website
addressed
as
the
well.
fees, we moved the kayak fee to $20 because that's what I kept pushing for.
That's what I said from the beginning, Tim, but that's not what's happening.
Well,
That's not what we voted for.
I'm pretty sure that's what we voted for, but I know that's not what's happening.
Well, then what needs to be fixed?
The fee needs to be changed to $20. That's
Well,
what
we
we
voted
Well, I
to do
think
that.
Julie's bringing you the problem right now. So now that we're aware of the problem, it needs to be fixed by whoever it needs to be.
well, and it's not so bad to have the kayak be at $30. That makes it $20 for the kayak, $10 for the. And I haven't had any complaints about the kayak fees because people have come in, other than the ones who wanted to put it on for a day, and it was $68. And
That's just.
I said, well, you can buy a year one.
For $30.
Well, and
For
granted,
$20.
if people are driving in from other
That's what
counties to
that
get to
is
the
what we
lake,
voted
and then it's
on.
$68
We voted on
to put
20
their
right
boat on
now.
for the day, which I think is
No.
a ridiculous amount.
Let me
Yes.
see one of those if you have a copy.
Yeah. I just
It
I
should
have
be
what
like
Justin's looking at as well.
$35, if that.
For a day.
hmm
Yeah.
And that's what Justin's looking at on our copy there.
Because we're at this point with that rate, we're not gaining anybody, we're running people off.
Yeah.
Because I've been there when they've said, well, we're not coming back. And the object is to attract,
I
to
sure
make
thought
money,
that we
not
changed
run them
the
off.
kayak fee to 20. I thought we redlined the 30 and made it 20. Because I know that you mentioned that for my benefit, because I keep complaining and I think it's too high.
Well, like I said, I haven't had nobody's complained about the $30 kayak fee for a year. But as far as
I know some guy that's got a whole bunch of kayaks and he won't go back because it's $30.
well, anywho, but as far as putting them on for a day, $68 just seemed like much, and then they won't come back, and then the only ones who are having their boats on the lake are residents of the lake, which is, I'm sure more to their liking anyway. But at the same time, $68 is an awful lot just to put your boat on the lake for a
I
day.
agree.
Yes, it is. I don't. We didn't make it that.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, for a big boat, I guess
We
the
talked about it
regardless of
because
size is
we
what gets
kind
it.
of wanted to discourage people from coming to the lake by the conversation that we had, if I remember right.
Well, I think it was to discourage a one day. It was to promote buying,
Yeah, it was
Like
to
an
discourage a
annual.
one day.
Exactly, yeah.
discourage the one day and promote the annual.
I mean, the one day, I mean, it kind of sucks compared to like, if you got like a smaller boat, yeah, the one
I mean, I
day.
had a kid come in there the other day with a John boat. It was $48 for a year or
Yeah,
$68 for the day.
yeah. And so, yeah, it doesn't make much sense to do that. But, if you got, decked out this 166 plus horsepower class, where it's 208, I mean, it's over, you could buy 3 days of 1 day boating passes and still come out ahead.
Right.
So
How I look at it is the
That-
people that
That
are getting a yearly one,
yeah, I wouldn't think so.
it's
either.
half the price. So I mean,
Yeah.
for instance, Richard would be getting for just double the price all year long, and that one person is 1 day.
Now last year it was $48, which made it $20 for the boat, $28 for the inspection. So I mean, even if it just knocked it down to $48, I mean that's still kind of high as compared to everywhere else. But I don't know. I mean, it's up to you guys. I mean, because the people who have already drove here for an hour, once I told them it was $68, they pissed and moaned and complained and paid for it. But you know what Brett said, you know, they're not coming back. So I don't know. And that's only
I don't know. I mean, I guess like, you know, this sheet is so busy anyway. And I mean, you know, with all this resident, non-resident, and all these different, you know, so many horsepower here. I mean, other than just maybe saying like 1 day boats are half price, and we get rid of the 5 day boats, and you know, by the time you spend 2 days on the lake, you're gonna want to buy an annual permit. I don't know. That's like the only actual solution I can think of, but.
I say get rid of non-resident and resident and just make them all the one price.
well. Mary Jane worked on that, and I turned it into you guys and all this.
You say exactly that, and now I'm trying to take credit for it.
Well,
I don't know. I
we
mean,
did. I had Mary
yeah.
Jane work on it to where we had just one price for everybody, and then you
Yeah.
guys kind of
well,
tossed that to the side and.
I mean,
Well, we had people here that didn't want from the lake that didn't want to take it up, so we were trying to.
well, yeah, and I see the point of that, and I mean, even you know, ask people in Eskridge if you have a boat, try to provide them some benefit of living here, where the city
Right.
owns the lake. But so I mean, I
There was
kind of
8
like to keep
residents
it.
from Eskridge. I think out of
Yeah,
about last
Yeah, I
year.
mean, I'm sure there's not that many. I don't see that many.
Was
parks,
I two of them?
If we made it where they didn't
Yeah.
have to pay, and the citizens got their boats for
Yeah.
free, we could attract people to the town.
I don't know, but if you guys
Possibly.
do want to knock the price down on that, then I can have Mary Jane get a hold of them. But definitely the website needs to be changed to where it's not saying
Yeah.
$20. It needs to be the same price because
Right, it
That
needs to say
did make them-
$20 for
that did make
kayaks.
them upset when they
Is-
came in.
We
and
need to
said,
leave it at $20 for kayaks. That's what we need to do.
Is that on Astra at all?
Well, it's
Like
only
where that would be
$30
displayed to them if they
for a
get onto
kayak.
that?
But he has
I don't think
kayaks, so
so.
he wants it $20.
I don't
You
know.
don't have a kayak. You don't own kayaks. I have a kayak.
That would work.
You pass an ordinance that says 30 days?
I think what happened is the
Our
$20 we
ordinance
said
allows
don't
us to
increase
set
it,
fees
but
by
then
the
friend
we rolled
has
the
kayaks.
inspection fee into it.
Right.
Once it became 30.
Yeah.
Because it says no increase here, but yet you're going,
it was $30
There.
last year also.
yeah, after the inspection fee, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it would be a drop to just get rid of that.
Right.
I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's a dang kayak. I mean, it's not gonna.
For the kayak.
You know, they're-
Cause erosion or
Well, yeah.
wakes on depth.
Yeah,
rocks.
exactly.
So that's what
I mean, they're-
I'm on 4 kayaks out there.
Yeah.
They're quiet.
Well, the $30 was that, wasn't that?
I
That's
could
$20.
really care less. We could drop that right now.
That's why it's 30.
I say we drop the
One
one
day.
day. Definitely.
What do you think, Annie?
I don't know.
I think
am listening, I
$68
swear.
is ridiculous. for
I
one
agree.
day.
I missed that meeting, unfortunately. The boat race. I know we went down a kayak, but I didn't really watch that.
Yes.
Was there any decision on paddleboards if that's classified as kayak or an inflatable?
It's on motorized, so it's.
There's inflatable paddleboards,
Oh,
and then there's paddleboards.
Because people tow things around their behind their boats all the time that are inflatable. So
oh, I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
paddleboard wouldn't be any different.
Yeah, we're not charging for a raft or anything that you're towing. Yeah.
So is a paddleboard considered a raft or is it
If it's
considered a kayak?
inflatable, it's a raft.
Yeah.
So if I went out,
If it says hard one, then it's considered a
That's probably where my mind would go to.
not if they're inflatable.
does city council agree with that?
I'd say what Jerry said makes sense to me, but
That's how I do
That's
it.
what you said before.
That's how I do it at the big house. If it's inflatable, then I don't charge for it.
yeah,
If it's not, then you have to have a permit.
yeah.
Lily pads are not inflatable. You don't charge for those.
You
What was that?
I don't think you would
Just
charge
maybe
for
the devil's
it.
advocate over there, don't you?
It's on the water.
You can't help it.
Well, last year I was charged for paddle.
Anything to
That's,
argue.
okay.
Yes, the paddleboard, yes.
I think it
Was
is
it
a
an inflatable
non-motorized craft, so it'd be like the same as a kayak, or, instead of, using your muscles like this, you're using your leg muscles, I
It was
guess.
just a normal inflatable paddleboard.
Oh,
I don't know
well,
too
okay.
bad.
Inflatable.
We won't do that. We won't make that mistake again this year.
Was considered a kayak, or if it was considered a raft. Because if I go out on a paddleboard that I stand up on, I don't wanna get insulted.
Yeah.
Or being out on a paddleboard. Well, if I commit to keep the right amount on the way, I don't want them getting insulted.
Yeah.
If it's blowed up, it's inflatable and you don't have to pay for it. If you do not blow air into it, you have to have a permit for it.
Okay.
Better permit your
I
lily
think the
pad.
judges ruled.
Yes, so
Shall we move on?
Yes, please.
Because Julie spoke, I wanted to bring up something else. I was talking to Mary Jane, and I guess we don't prorate anymore, or we decided not to do that last year. But Astra set itself up as prorating come July. So I just wanted to point out, if we don't change that, that's going to be considerably even less money after that point from the total that I gave us last year that we already made no money at. So we need to have that switch to where we're not prorating January 5th or whatever it is.
I thought we eliminated
July 5th.
prorating altogether.
We did, but it's on Astra. So
It's
right
also
now,
on here after September.
right.
Yeah, I
I
50%.
didn't say September, but
You're just saying
after
change
Labor
the
Day and
program.
all that
Yes,
stuff.
we need to have Astra.
Change the
needs to
Astra
be
program, not
emailed.
the program.
Yeah.
Well, Mary Jane had called them when
Yeah, Mary
all
Jane
these
could take
fees
care of that.
changed. I didn't have any
And just
input in
take
that.
prorating off of there.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what about the 1 day permit? Are you leaving it at 68 or are you changing it?
Should we change a fee during mid-season, or
It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. It's discretion.
Then yes, we're running people off. We don't want to continue doing that for the sake of not changing.
then I move to make the 1 day boat permit $38. That's with the inspection fee.
48's what it was last year.
I know what it was last year. My nomination was for 38,
Okay.
including the inspection fee.
I'll second it.
'Cause I still think $50 is too much for,
Okay, we have a motion to change the
especially.
1 day permit from 68 to 38, which includes the inspection fee by Brett, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Those opposed? None.
I move that we move the non-motorized vessel fee from $30 to $20.
Second.
I have something to bring up.
Let's just go into the discussion phase on that first, okay?
Oh, sorry.
All right, so we have a motion to change the non-motorized vessel fee from 30 to 20. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that annual? Yes.
And seconded by Brett.
I don't have a problem with that
Just,
as long as the parties that have them actually get the permits.
I think now that we've lowered it, I might just take a little ride around the lake and have a little look. Make it a point.
Okay.
So that $20 is with the inspection fee, right? So it's no longer $20 plus a $10 inspection fee.
Correct.
It's $20 with the inspection.
Correct.
Includes.
Now, wait a minute, but it includes it?
Mm-hmm.
So $20 is the total amount?
It's the total amount.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's clear.
And
Yes,
one
that's
day
what
we
I
have
heard.
I'm sorry, my motion
38.
wasn't more clear.
We
That's what I
thought it
intended.
was fine. Okay. Any further discussion on that, on those fees? Okay, those in favor? Those opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay,
The point of abstaining is that you don't have to lift your hand at all.
But yeah,
I need the
I mean-
acknowledgement.
yeah.
That's all I'm looking for.
Well,
Okay,
I
you
don't
had a
believe
question?
that it's gonna be followed by certain people.
So I don't know how to bring this up because I've never been to a council meeting,
Okay.
but our landlord.
Does this have anything to do with the boats?
No.
Okay, then let's hold off on that question for the time being, okay? All right, and we can get to you when we get through with all the other things on the agenda, all right? Is that okay? All right. Okay, moving on. Next thing's the employee handbook. That's been tossed around, nothing's been done. So I'm gonna propose that we set up a special work session so we can get this knocked out. Get
Can we
done.
do it on the 5th of June, which is the first Monday? I do know that.
And that's what I was gonna propose. Does anybody have a problem with the 5th of June?
Anytime.
7:00. So June 5th, 7:00, special meeting.
Only the handbook.
Only the handbook. It's the only thing to be brought up at that discussion, at that meeting, okay?
Uh-oh, I think I'm going dry.
At the 7 o'clock time? Or
7:00, yeah. Okay, next up, buoys. I'm assuming that's probably what Julie was referring to when this got on the agenda, but I have no
Well,
idea.
it was last minute
Anniversary
was
the next
to
day.
put it on for tonight. So
Okay.
just the placement of the buoys around the lake, especially before the
I
holiday.
leave on vacation that week. I
Well,
don't know.
we apparently don't have a working boat like we thought we did.
I can speak about the boat. So
Okay.
because they said that it was in working condition, I happened to be out at the lake and I helped Robin take it over to unload the boat, and it did start up. John Taylor was there and he explained a bunch of stuff to her about the boat, whatever. Got it on the water, and then the boat started sinking. It wasn't. She had put in, I forget what you call that lets the water out. You have to plug it. That was plugged, but in speaking with John Taylor, I think he said that it's not uncommon for plugs to be forgotten and not placed back in motors when they have been worked on, and he was thinking maybe that was why the motor was taking water and was sinking the boat. And then there was something else with a part that, Robin would hear on it, but it was taken over and tried to be launched, and it did go around a couple circles, but then it had to be pulled off.
And,
I know Mike said the bilge pump
Bilge
wasn't
pump.
turned on.
That is
So
correct.
now
and so the boat was taken off the lake and done, and what was done with it?
it was put back over where it was.
So, and what's happened since?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. And I'm just now getting word of this. Okay, I'll get with Mike and see if we can't get that boat into a repair shop somewhere to have it looked at. And get it running. Obviously, we can't move buoys around the lake if we don't have transportation to get out there and get it. Okay. Okay, next up, abatement 202 South Pine. What do we know about that? Was that the one that we were supposed to try to get somebody hired to come in and do it?
That's the one that needs the dumpster. And I said at the last meeting, because Becky resigned, that somebody needed to call and get that dumpster. Apparently nobody has done that.
Well, I just need direction. I don't know who's
Is
to
our
fill it up
abatement
then.
direction enough for her?
Is this the one we said we were?
Yes, we're going to abate it.
Well,
So, do you
well-
still need direction from the council when we already?
But then do you hire people to,
well, that's what you guys understand is what the cost is what you're going to place against the property. So what are they doing specifically?
It'll be a dumpster and then all the stuff will be thrown into the dumpster.
And
You
what
need either to hire somebody to clean it up who's an independent contractor,
that's what we talked about last meeting. Because
as
we're
or city
short-staffed.
employees. So if
I
you're
think the
short
last
staffed,
time that we did it, our city employees
Yeah.
had the uniloader and they loaded that dumpster up. Actually, I think they've done it every time, haven't they?
Yeah.
From when I've been on here, I believe so.
Every time, I don't remember once.
The Schaefers have been
Yeah.
multiple times.
well, the Shavers were abated once.
Yeah.
But
And not
regardless,
down there.
Once at both.
regardless,
Once at both
regardless, it's gotta be either city employees or contractors. If you don't have the city employees to do it, then you need to get somebody hired to do it. And I don't know if you need to request proposals or you just know somebody, but that's how it's done.
For what it's worth, there's a flatbed trailer backed up to a pile of the stuff right now. I saw on my way to the city meeting.
Well, if they get it done before you guys get the people out there, they're fine.
They beat us to the punch. More power to them.
Exactly.
Then we don't have to do anything. That's great.
The other one with the pallets that I told her, that was the number one issue that needed to be
Is this
taken
202
care of.
Pine?
No,
Okay, then we can't discuss
Yeah.
it. This is not a hearing today.
right. She has until June 12th.
So abatement means what?
It means
Well,
that it's the property's cleaned up.
Right.
Now, how you do that is entirely up to your direction and or city officer's discretion if you allow them that. What I understood it to be is previously we had city employees do it. It looks like you guys can't spare the time.
Who said we can't spare the time?
Well,
I made the comment at the last meeting that we're short-staffed on city employees. And it was brought up at that time that we would contract somebody we'd bring the dumpster in, contract somebody to haul all that stuff out of there.
And the grass is growing. So it's just more things for them to do than maybe their baseline. So, yeah.
but regardless, it doesn't matter. You do it one way or the other. You have employees do it, put it in a dumpster, take it off, or you contract it out. It's the only way it gets done.
I have a question though, Todd. They have a carport, whatever, just a roof with two legs. They've taken almost everything and tried to huddle it up underneath there, and it's from ground to the roof.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, that's part of the eyesore.
Mm-hmm.
Can whoever cleans this take what's underneath that carport?
Yes. Because we did it to the other property that used to be Alan and Iowa Clark's that they lived in. They had a carport. It was full of stuff. We sent them a thing, said remove it all or we're going to remove it. And they removed it all themselves.
And I've been told that her and her roommates or part-time roommates or whatever have been putting things in that kind of basement type thing. And it's getting kind of full too.
That house has a full basement underneath it.
So if we hire a contractor, I mean, do we put an ad in, put flyers around town? Do you direct?
But I think that carport is actually connected to the trailer.
So anyway.
It is.
So
I'm not
So
sure
was
that's
the other
better than that.
carport.
I mean,
No, the abatement
probably
is,
don't have a
abatement is in
professional
accordance
cleaner.
with the resolution. It's been decided.
Right, right. And I can go order a dumpster. That's not a problem. It's just who's going to fill it.
That's a good, I don't know.
I'd say put up some flyers or something with RFPs.
I have a business card I'll give you for this hauling company in Alta Vista. They bring dumpsters and they do this type of stuff. So probably perfectly exactly what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just pay them then.
Thank you.
It's called Oz Hauling.
I've seen that. OZ.
Uh-huh.
I've seen that on social media or something.
I'd prefer the dumpster be filled and then taken immediately.
Here's college hunks hauling junk.
What?
College hunks hauling junk. Sorry, my voice is.
You got you all choked up.
No, my voice is really
Mhm.
gone. United We Junk. Those are both two Topeka.
And what if they is a possibility they're gonna have opposition when they go out there and start hauling this stuff off?
That's what I wonder.
I don't know if they're we're allowed to have city contractors on the property to debate the nuisance.
Is there a possibility we're gonna have resistance, Julie?
That's Haley.
Well,
And
what
she
I would
was
say
just
is
her whole life. Come
The
on.
Buncombe County Sheriff's Office, and if they are interrupted, they call the sheriff.
Yeah.
Normally
Well,
we
I have
the city
discussed it with
police do
her at
this.
length what was going to happen, so
So she's aware.
she is aware.
Okay,
Her behavior is on her.
Okay, so the plan.
all right, next up, general maintenance job description. Everybody should have a piece of that in their packet.
Yeah, this is the most recent one that Mike had. He indicated he was gonna change just a couple minor things. He didn't say what, but I thought that's what you asked last meeting, was to review that. And
Have we got applications for
No.
city clerk in this position? I would like to wait off, or I would like to suggest waiting off putting the ad in to fill this position until we pass the handbook. Like, we're gonna be having a special meeting. We've been working on passing this handbook. It should have been passed a long time ago. And I think to hire people in right before we're passing a new handbook is not probably a wise decision, and it's only 2 weeks. And we've been kicking this down the road for 7 months.
I don't see why there's any reason to wait to at least publish it and get
Right.
applications. Because that
Applications
is
you don't
a
have to
2 week
hire.
window all by itself.
Right.
We're not hiring on that day.
right.
Right,
I
but what
think it
about
would be-
qualifications?
I think qualifications are not in the manual at all.
Yeah,
Probably
mainly
we're
for
gonna
the qualifications.
change
Yeah,
That's the job description.
yeah,
Be
you
able
have
to run
description separately.
The equipment that we use, skid loader, dump truck, mowers, backhoe.
No,
I would like to get applications, period, so.
I would like it.
What kind of changes are you looking at making
You're
on this
gonna-
anyway?
Lose the ones
What?
we have now.
Not them, new ones. They're fine, not them.
I think restricting the very small window we already have is not smart, honestly.
It's worked out for Alma.
Alma has at least 200 people more in their city limits than we do. Our last census was
No,
414.
They've got at least
I'm
four or
sorry,
five
double,
times.
double.
Every
It's
job you
800.
guys have is subject to be, personnel
They're
rules changed at any time.
There's no reason to restrict it like that.
Yeah, you can change it for everybody, even after you hire them.
Yeah,
So,
just make it effective the next pay period or something like
yeah,
that.
so.
That's similar to what Alma did. That is not, let me repeat, not what I am suggesting is to do
Okay.
that to the current.
I'm not trying to
employees.
say that. Sorry.
Not, let me say capital N before I get raked over the coals for this. But I do want to,
But population density wise, we have 400 people in Eskridge and Alma has double that
I was wrong.
per census. It's 800 something
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
at 414.
Right.
I think it would be unwise to restrict it any more than it already is.
And I don't think there's that many changes that Mike's wanting on here anyway. I've looked at it, and the only thing I wanted is already on here. So there's no, I'm good with it the way it is at the moment, but I have no idea what he's wanting to change. Do you?
I know he indicated he was wanting to train them more outside of the city, like Admire Allen, just so they're
Oh, for
familiar.
other, yes,
Just so they're
yes,
familiar with
yes.
where the gas valves are and,
Sure.
you know,
I think that's
just.
normal. Should be
But he
every
didn't
one of
go
them should
into
know
detail.
that.
He did mention that one in particular, but
Assist with natural gas system operation and maintenance and emergency response. I mean, it's in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's in there.
I
so,
mean,
like I said, he didn't go into detail and
Read meters in assigned areas. Well, you got to know where they are before you can read them, whether they're in Admire or they're here.
right. Place an ad.
Do we need to?
Yes, I think we
approve-
should. I think we need to place an ad.
This is on the agenda. Do we need to approve this or?
I think it was just for your information.
Yes.
I think people just.
Department heads.
it's
Because
something
that
that's
was-
handed to somebody if they ask, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
And see, Mike, whatever, in 2015, in the bottom left-hand corner is when he updated it. Yes, thank you.
I mean, really.
did we hire anybody? Has the city hired anybody?
There hasn't been more applications that I know of.
Are you
We
talking
haven't
about-
hired a
Oh,
city
yes,
part-time
yes, there's a
lawnmower?
part-timer. Yes,
Yeah.
we do have one for $11.50 an hour. By the
Are we
way.
taking
Who dat?
applications for that
Connor
as
Holt-
well?
Connor
Connor
Holton.
Holtby.
Did we take applications for it? I don't
Well,
think
we-
an
No,
application
because
was
you-
filled in.
you
We authorized
authorized
Mike to
Mike
hire somebody.
At his
Mike got
discretion.
authority.
So are there any new applications to the city for anything?
No.
But we haven't asked.
I'm sure Lisa can give.
Yeah, Lisa.
When was the last time the clerk position ran in the paper?
Oh, it's
You
been
know.
a couple of weeks.
Couple weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
At least 2 weeks.
I think it needs to go again.
Well, and I've got flyers to take around town too.
So
I think-
what's your concern with the
we-
applications right now, Brett? I'm curious.
No, I just was told that somebody had put in an application
For what position?
for the lawn mowing
The
position
lawnmower. Okay.
or part-time
Oh,
city help.
yeah, after the fact.
Okay.
Mike had already hired Connor, and there was an application sitting on my desk when I came into work one morning.
Okay.
And that was specific to the lawn mowing? Okay. I think I know who that is.
And I told or showed that to Mike.
Can I assume that Mr. Bennett is not interested, even with the higher possible wage?
Apparently not.
Okay.
What did we hire that person at?
$11.50.
I also, since we're talking about jobs, I wanted to clear something up from the council and Todd. I had some research done, and apparently any of us sitting on this council can be a contract employee of the city and is totally legal and legit per Kansas League of Municipalities.
Contract employee,
Correct.
as in like a public officer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't technically be a contract employee because you're telling them when and where to show up. That's a W-2.
Unless
Right.
you contracted 15 hours a week for the public officer out at the lake, which it rarely.
You could make make it into a
You
contract.
absolutely could make any of the positions available into a contract. Probably not the clerk position or the full-time employee, but any of the part-time or public officers. I just wanted to put that correction out there because it was stated the polar opposite of that.
It's not a correction because they're wrong. All right. I'm not gonna take legal advice from the Kansas League of
Municipal.
crappy lawyers. They do not represent you. I do. And I'm telling you, don't do it. And then that's it. And you guys can do it if you want to. It's just my advice. They can give you advice too. It's just up to you whether you want to take it or not. I'm telling you, it's an incompatibility of offices. Nobody on the council should take a job working for the city.
And there was dead silence.
Are we, is that it?
Move to adjourn.
I just wanted to make it clear that
They
that was his
still gotta
opinion that he
say the
said, and the
word.
Kansas League says something
That's
different.
my advice.
Yes.
I don't
And now
ever
I
give
find out
opinions.
my sister was a crap lawyer.
All right, I wanna interject one thing.
I
Okay, go ahead.
Also,
Kansas League.
the dock that was over by the dam is now over in the cove by the swimming area.
Right,
Where
right.
it's discovered.
Yes, yes,
Still sitting there on.
right. I think we need to, once our boat's fixed and movable, I think we need to go get that dock and make it our use wherever we want to put it.
Race is on.
In the swimming area where the kids can go jump off
I
of
think
it.
we have an insurance legal issue with the dock out in the swimming area is why we don't have one now.
The insurance wouldn't cover, isn't that right? Isn't that why they
They
had to
were,
get rid of it?
they were concerned that someone might fall into the water and get trapped underneath that and drown.
A drowning hazard.
Mhm.
Oh, that was so
Well, I know it sounds silly, but that's what we're dealing with in today's environment. Not much different than dropping a
Good
tree in
ones
the
and
lake
bad
for a
ones.
fishing
Something
trap
nice
and
that they're
and people having, get their feet tangled up in their skin and not know that tree's down there. Okay, I'm gonna entertain this young lady's question because I know you weren't here earlier. If you're going to talk about the housing at Prairie Wind, we've already discussed that with Michael, and I'm going to.
I'd like to just so fix it.
Yeah, but I'm going to contact Wabunsee County Health Department, see if I can get them involved in looking into that.
It's way past contacting us.
Well, I'm just saying there's not, our hands are tied at this point. So at least I'm going to try to do that and get something going.
Our grass is so tall, you can't see our dog when he walks through it.
I understand. I understand.
Rats.
You have to understand, my hands are tied with those folks, and I promised him I would look into that.
Esther sold it off
Pardon
in
me?
the first place.
What?
They sold the building.
No, cities aren't really in the business of owning property, so it really wasn't something somebody, what didn't they give it? I don't know at the beginning.
Was the past mayor of the city, right?
Yeah.
He was also on the city council. So y'all didn't want that on your back, so y'all sold it. Well, somebody had a hand in selling it. Now, I'm not from Kansas. I got family in Salina. I understand you say you call the health department.
No, I will
but
call
your
them.
City attorney is supposed to be latching on to that and not just leaving it all on you.
No. Let's get something very clear here because it seems to me that I'm getting told what we have the power to do and what we can and can't do.
You do.
No, we don't. Sir, I can go ahead and tell you this. I've been practicing law 28 years.
And your sole purpose is to serve the people.
No,
We
my
all
sole
pay our
purpose
rent.
is to give legal advice to the city and tell it what it has authority to do and what it doesn't have the authority to do.
Okay, I understand that, but we're sitting here talking about people's docks, right? So, hey, I'm this guy's neighbor. I don't want this dock I want it a certain way. Well, okay, we got grass. His father stays right behind us. Your father, Brett Kimball, I know, good man. He has to come over and cut the grass. I'm just talking about basics. I'm just saying for the health and the safety of women and people that pay their rent on time. You shouldn't be leaving it all on mayors. I'm sorry. That's serving the people.
They can't give them a
That's serving the
ticket.
people. And you know you can make it, you at least make phone calls. Hold on.
They can give them a ticket for.
City attorney, Mr. Todd. What was your last name? I can't see because the customer was.
Mr. Luxford.
Mr. Luckman, if you can at least make the phone call because this man got to run the whole city. You're an attorney. I understand. You can sit there and mock me all you want to, but you can at least make the phone call to be like, hey, for the health and the safety part, hey, here you go. I'll put my name in the blender. Then it's done.
Who am I
We
calling?
just don't want rats.
Who am I calling?
The health department, you can do what the mayor is promising me to do when I'm pretty sure he's got way too much to do.
Yeah,
But that's your job to do it. You
well,
can make the calls and they'll be
I
there
think
just like
the mayor may have the idea that it costs the city money to have me call the health department.
I understand
But it
it's
doesn't cost-
lucrative, but it's still a health issue. What if you're okay? I got one last question. I got pictures on the phone. I'm just gonna show you. This is not even my apartment. I took care of mine. This is a 70-year-old woman in a 60-year-old woman apartment, and she actually sent me back up here so you can see the pictures. So I'm just gonna show you. I'll stand right here and show you. Excuse my hand bleeding. This is her shower. All right. This lady ain't my family. If your mama stayed in there, I guarantee you would have made the call. Here's some more pictures.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Oh, okay, that's my toilet. I was shoving around shit. I've been paying my rent early. My rent's due on the 1st. I'll be paying them on the 26th. I fixed my own toilet. I have zero plumbing skills. Thankful for my dad. He's a chief engineer, ex-military. He walked me through it. This is her apartment. This is her apartment. That doesn't work. I don't even know what's in there. I think she said it was mold in there. More stuff. I even got more pictures.
Well, I have to.
Here you go. This is her apartment. Their floor is all messed up and moldy.
And it's
I don't know what that is.
Here to fix our bathroom. We had to go over to my
And her
grandpa's
grandpa's almost 60-something
to
years old.
take a shower. We
And
had to go
I
to
agree
our
to that.
hallway bathroom.
His brother let them come over to their apartment and take a shower.
I will, like I said, I will contact
That's
them.
no, that's a 70-year-old lady's apartment. That's a 70-year-old lady's apartment. Really? City attorney? You're gonna leave it on the mayor to make a phone call in good faith instead of you just hounding it down for the health department?
I'm going to do that.
To be fair, he is a municipal lawyer. Like his job is really for us.
I understand, but he can still at least throw. I mean, come on, man. Hound and be like, dude, I got elderly women in here. No, I want them to see it. Then I'll shut up, get the hell out your face. What if your mama stayed in that? You be on your ass, wouldn't you? You be on your ass, wouldn't you? That's a 70-year-old lady's apartment. This woman's age. Really, dude?
She's 35.
Excuse me. No offense. No offense. No offense. I'm black. I don't give a damn. You can X me out. That's a 70-year-old woman.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay, understood.
So don't leave it all on Mr. Terry Cook to make. Both of y'all should be making the calls at least just for that.
I guess
Just for that, bro.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the title of mayor is gonna have more influence on the county health department than Todd Luckman is.
Yeah, because I
I
don't
really
know
do.
once
I
again.
really do. Otherwise, I wouldn't even volunteer to even do that. But I understand the issue.
Please, because they
I
sent
will.
me back up here and said, no, you get on their ass. And I'm like, man, look, I can only do so much. I'm a big, tall black dude. They probably think I'm crazy.
So
But
I got
I
your
just
name
find
and
it
your phone
appalling.
number. I've got your name and your phone number and your email address. I don't have the apartment that you're in. Can you tell me that apartment number? And I'm like, first person that comes see you, I don't know. One way or the other, I get in touch with you.
Hers is apartment 7. They got mold and they got a wall caving in. Their apartment. Wait a minute, what apartment?
What apartment are you staying in?
Me, I'm in number 5. I'm all right. I'm speaking for all these other people.
Yeah,
because
but
if they got
I'm
mold,
not going to somebody else's apartment and telling them who I am.
okay,
you're the one that's
apartment
addressed me
number
with
5.
this.
And what's your apartment?
Number 9.
What's your name?
Madison. You need my last name.
No.
And
you're
I
number
live with
7?
my-
9.
No, I'm in 9. I live with my grandpa. He's the one paying rent right now.
Okay.
In the commons area, Terry, would the be made into apartments?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Mr. King, you said, go ahead, trying to,
Help
I
us
be
out
watching
with
cut his
our
grass, man.
freaking yard.
And do either one of you work during the day?
No.
Me.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't mind taking that city council. If the boy quit, I'll cut some grass. Shoot, I can take that lawnmower and cut ours too. Consolidate that back.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing.
I'll even pay for the gas.
My grandpa and his brother, we live in those apartments, and we have offered, hey, we'll mow your grass, and I think it was like $150 a mow. I mean, I don't know anything about mowing, but my grandpa says that's cheap for a mow for how much land we have.
It's very cheap when they don't pay you. So
And our landlord is refusing to pay anybody that would like to mow our yard.
Yeah.
We can
My
assess
grandpa
that.
says he'll do it for $150. He'll trim the trees, he'll mow the grass, he'll weed eat, he'll make sure all of our flowers and stuff look all nice.
all right. So and Justin, what you're saying is that if our compliance officer determines their property needs to be cut, we could
We
send
got a
them.
grass ordinance, yeah.
We could send them the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then road problem. If y'all can take care of that, if he tries to kick it back on us, all the ladies said they won't pay rent. I won't pay rent either. So we'll all stand on it.
What
I'm
are your
speaking
work?
for the
What are
people.
your work hours? So I don't be down there.
Just
messing
call
with
me anytime. Call me anytime.
Okay.
I'll pick up the phone.
you. Okay. All right.
I mean, if y'all can just take the money and at least get Orkin to come through and just the rope and the grass, kick him the bill. Kick him the bill. He deserves to be kicked right in the you know what.
Yeah.
And then we'll hold on him. He ain't gonna try to do nothing. The whole building, all the rent, we will hold our rent.
Okay. I promise you I'll get in touch with you no later than Wednesday.
We
I've
tried.
already.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Motion stands.
Second it.
Motion adjourned, seconded. In favor? All right, we're adjourned at 9:32.
It's a Sunday. I'll be back in town at 11.
Okay. Now there you go.
Like,
Yeah.
you work from 11 to 1, or you come back and work from 4 to 7. What do you want to do?
Good enough.
You get food
Get
on the
this, I'll
second
take
shift.
that.
unless you want to work a stop.
There used to be a trash can
Right
on
there.
point,
That's fine.
I'm surprised that
You want me to
it's
sign
a couple
them up?
times I thought I was going to, but
And
then
then
quit.
message me the sign like for work.
Are you gonna need an email for the 10th or whatever?
I just in the meeting sent out the sign up.
Hey, George Brown.
So,
George Brown has a
If
guy.
you want, if you feel like
You
it,
have
it's
a
out
boat
there
guy?
now. But if you want to just tell me, I don't know. Can you get on
So-
Facebook?
The pre-win department.
Yeah.
What's that, Brett?
So jump
What's
on
the
there and
address,
sign
Brett?
up, or if you can't find it, then come on.
I think
That's
it's
what you know.
201 North Cedar, or it might be 102 North Cedar.
It's 201, that sounds right.
201?
What the heck?
Gary.
Russia owns another one, right? RMRL.
Yeah, these are in good shape.
You got what?
Takes care of them.
Oh, yeah.
202 North.
Yeah, I think it's 102 because it's on the other side. It's
Oh,
North
yeah.
Cedar.
Justin,
I don't
Matt?
You're Matt?
No, I'm Will.
Will. How come I was thinking Matt? Okay, you're Ashley's husband?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good.
Tell me where it's on
They've been hitting places.
I'm gonna guess it's these apartments here.
And
What do you?
201
I'll
North
come to
Cedar.
you.
Someone North Cedar.
We're talking about Greenway, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
that-
the
that
block
looks
by
like-
itself.
And
That
they
looks
hit
like
my
Gary
neighbor
Kimball's property up
That's
here.
Greenway.
Yeah, right there.
trying to
Okay, so
get gas out their gas tank.
It looks
I'm
like
gonna figure out who the owner is.
SCTOP Development.
Let's see top development, okay.
Does not sound like the name that we sold
Oh,
to.
really?
That's what the utilities are.
I almost wonder if they
So you
sold
said
it.
you want this recorded?
Oh,
Debbie.
Mhm, mhm.
I guess.
SC top.
I believe
So
Oh,
they're trying to
Thank you.
steal,
Appreciate it.
they're trying to steal gas and steal whatever isn't nailed down.
Mm,
And they probably have a hammer to loosen the nails.
yeah. Do you know if there was a building permit approved for the new sheds that are going in back there behind Kim's old garage?
Kim,
Terry.
Kemp,
no, I do not know.
Kemp's old garage down there on Main Street.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I just saw that.
Two
coming up.
sheds. One is
Is
like
that
instantly
Arias?
done.
This guy?
The second one is now being
Corporation,
built.
sorry.
Is it Arias?
Corporation's delinquent.
The Onyx
I've seen
Stone?
it.
Yeah, it's delinquent.
I thought you were talking about that area.
No,
Okay,
I,
it's not
yeah, I know.
forfeit.
it's a confusing last name, isn't it?
Filed any
I
reports.
remember them owning it because they
This
used to
guy.
play freaking baseball
Brian
on the
Cardwell
street.
was registered agent, so you want,
Nearly
that's
hit
who
us
you want to
with
have.
cars. Anyway,
That, and look this up on the Secretary of State's office, because that's the guy who gets served with anything for SC top development.
Yeah.
That's your guy, that's the name I recognize.
All right, so hang on, just don't take that away. I'll be with you in a second, Will.
All right.
How about I email this to you?
That'd be great. I was gonna take a picture of it and then I'd have it.
Okay.
That works better.
Let's see if I can. Okay.
I did talk to Ken Titus. He's the 51st district representative for state of Kansas. And he's kind of like the lead on a group of people that are dealing with childcare issues.
Yeah.
And the, you got it?
Okay.
Send me, okay.
Just email it to you, so.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anyway, he said that the legislature is done for the session and they won't meet back again until October.
No.
And the governor vetoed a bill on childcare and it's a dead issue until October. Okay.
Okay.
But we're going to keep in touch. I'm going to keep in touch with him and we're sharing information about childcare. We're still going to be pursuing grants. I was kind of hoping you and Ashley had been here earlier when the lady was talking about grants.
Yeah, she said something like you said that we could come before or after, and I again called up trying to get the phone line wired on the house because
And that's okay. I'll walk with you this way.
come before they end it.
Excuse me. So by all means, that it's that you want to do that.
I just
By all means, the childcare grant is still available,
Okay.
and we will.
is that a CDBG that you're thinking about from childcare? It's not the CDBG that was on her list, right?
Was she talking about childcare tonight? She mentioned that, yeah, it'd be in
Is that what you've been talking about going for?
there. Yes,
Be careful.
I
You
know.
can't do more than one at once, so we're
You
going
what?
for the
Can't do
park.
what?
You can't do more than one at
Oh,
once.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Because if that park's on there next year, I think I'm gonna push very hard to get us off the ground and going.
Yeah.
Because I would like to not spend my whole life doing the park.